The levels on StreamYard are so weird. With the Roadcaster.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, she said it. She said it right there. Whichever one of them hers is behind the controls. Said it. Showtime. Time for some normalcy with them Off Topic Tuesday. Happy New Year. Yay! It's my first show of the new year. I took how many 10 days off? How many days off are within that 10 days? So one Tuesday and which I did a show on Monday. So if you guys didn't check out that show, go to Derek's Reptiles. Yeah, he does live feeding on his channels. We talked about it. I've been talking to people about it. Like I'm willing to talk about it, right? Middle-aged white dude. That's it. Not chicks here. You just use that. You just use the two girls as your thing, huh? That's really sad. You know. I don't know that. How do I not know that? I just look at the two chicks on the thing. Take the two chicks off the thing. Why am I supposed to know that? Snakes and the fucking fat man. You know, this is what I have to do to get this guy to watch a show and to make a comment. I have to, first of all, make an ass of myself as a host. Second of all, I have to host one of his intimate family people that he basically introduced me to, right? And otherwise, like, he sits silently aside or he watches it on the replay so that he could say he wasn't a part of the live populace of my show. You know, so now that makes me feel even worse for not checking in on the Emma show that was this Saturday. So if you guys want to hear from Emma Stratford of Lizard Morphs, you can listen to Snakes and the Fat Man from Saturday. Apparently, they did a great show. They've been friends for many years now. And, you know, Chris is a good host. So I'm sure that's worth listening to. So everybody should pop on over to Snakes and the Fat Man's channel and listen to it. I haven't done it yet, but whatever. Yeah, Rich. Okay, I'll confuse you for hot chicks. It's fine. I'm not really creative with my Coralophus. So I'm going to go through the people real quick before it gets too crazy. See you, Morph. Stan, what's up, dude? Good to have you in the building early. Elite Ball Python, Exotics Ball Python. Thank you for being a Patreon member. Let me go to my banners real quick and show this while I'm going through here. Thank you for jumping on the Patreon. Paul also, I believe, said he was jumping on the Patreon. Thank you very much for coming on board the show and the Patreon page. Aaron Bosa, thanks a lot for coming on. Yep, let's be sure to smash the likes and the subscribes, all for Aaron. Conan's Mojo, however you want to say it, like Mojave. Like, you know, I always enjoyed hearing people say the different names of the ball pythons when they came out, like Mojave. Quirky Snakes, good to see you. Let's see who else is in the house. 905 Royals. I think we kind of like are in the same camp. 905 Royals and I are more or less blood brothers in this whole world out there of blood-strucken podcasters. Fries, good day from Down Under. Yeah, another person who I love hearing from every week in Australia. Will's Hella Heat. Thanks a lot, Will. Ever since you helped me out with the car problem, it's been, knock on wood, rocking and rolling, no problems at all. Who else is in here? The person who I mixed up earlier. I'll get to them eventually. PCF Funny Royals. Thanks a lot for coming in. You guys are just back and forth in the chat. I'm rolling through. It's like a fucking dating chat in here. Back and forth with all this circle love. Small Town Exotics. Good to see you here too, man. You know, I guess me and this guy got some clicks in the last couple of weeks. I don't know if we were out for the clicks or whatever, but yeah, the last little bit has been a little bit of a exhaustion. So it's nice to be here with a Off Topic Tuesday, Creative Coralophus. So I'm definitely ready for that normalcy that you talked about earlier. Lucas Landon Royals, thanks for coming in. Yeah, we were chatting. I had to say something off air that you guys can listen to on the audio files when I get around to uploading them and you get around to listening to them. Low Life Exotics. I have been uploading some the last few. How come I don't do the elevator trick on my intro anymore? Honestly, bro, now I've got so many wires and stuff coming off of this desk to this side desk over here from the fiasco the other night with Kevin McCurley that I haven't cleaned it up enough to be able to raise and lower the desk very easily. So I should do my elevator intro again, right? It was very unique in its own way. People are, what the fuck? Sean bought a stand-up desk. I know Snakes is a fat man. I know Chris had a lot of fun with me having a stand-up desk. What's up, 4S's? Good to have you here too. Serpentine. You guys are going to keep rolling in here. So I'm going to go ahead and jump over to my sponsors because I got quite a bunch of them on here. Oh, Jason Earl. I'll give a shout out to Jason Earl. You know, we're always looking out. Good guy there. Sponsor time, sponsor window. Luke's over there being sure that none of his lizards have made shit paintings and left shit bombs before the show starts so that he's not having to run off and clean more. Reptiles to you. I don't have a new coupon code for you. I need to give Debs a call and do an interview with her, first of all, for being a sponsor for this here shitty podcast. And also to tell you that she's pretty much the best reptile agent in the game. I'm not saying that there are other guys are not as good. I'm just saying I don't really understand how you could be any better. And I've said that repeatedly time and time again. And I think she's no, she's not extra looking out for me. She's definitely looking out for me when it comes to being a shipper with her. I have been shipping with Reptiles to you now since before the pandemic and very happy with all of the services that they bring me. So along with my other sponsors, I'm rolling here at the bottom of the screen while I go through these. Morph Market. Thanks a lot, John Lehman, for being awesome, being all that you have been to the reptile community since 2014, 15, whenever we crossed paths with you in this project. So thanks a lot for saving our collective asses. I say that repeatedly, not just in America, but worldwide, for giving us such a wonderful website to go to see all of the amazing things, as well as the amazing statistics that you can find out. Like there are almost 51,000, but still not 51,000 ball pythons on Morph Market in North America. So head on over to morphmarket.com. If you don't have an account, fill one out, set up a store, and be a part of what makes us a really successful business. Sea serpents, rack systems, incubators, thermostats, accessories, all that great stuff. It's getting to be that time when it's time to renew my my superior sponsorship situation with this gentleman. So I hope that he will have me again for another great year and that he will be thankful for the last few months that I've made up to him for the year I left him in the dust back in 2018. So thanks again, Chris, for being awesome and sponsoring me and the Fat Man, as well as probably other things as well, other productions as well, not just Fat Man's. Exotics by Nature, that's me. That's been my company since 2000, since the summer of 2000. Come on, check us out, man. We've got a lot of great stuff for sale. If you're looking for that beginner snake, if you catch this podcast and you're just trying to get started and stuff, or if you want to just get started in colubrids, you can come look at some of the colubrid snakes that we have for sale. We have a bunch of really great stuff. USARK.org. I'm working on those signs again. I was cutting signs until 1 o'clock this morning here on the lasers just to make a stack of signs. So what I'm doing is I'm just going through MDF that I have and I'm cutting up as much as I have. And then I'm going back to Home Depot and I'm filling up the vehicle with more and I'm going to cut more. And I'm just going to make piles and piles and piles of unfinished signs. And then I'm going to just put up a shopping cart and let you guys buy them. And that way I can donate the money to USARK. And you can see me having a joint standing in the company or in the organization based on all of our collective, sign raising and stuff benefits. So it'll be in the name of all of you, not in the name of Sean Bradley. So thanks again for everything you do for us, USARK. Go to usark.org. Bravo Zulu. Thanks a lot for supporting the podcast. Eileen, you've been very good counsel these last couple of weeks. Ectothermic Dungeon. I love you, Jim. Thanks a lot for being here. Nathan at Infinite Possible Pythons. Thank you a lot. John Woodruff. Got to get you up on a show. You and Jim and Bravo up on a show. Reptile Collective up on a show. Savages up on a show here soon. Shane Kelly and I did an episode already, and he's been in enough limelight. Look at like a sad dog in this picture, bro. What's up with that? You know? Oh man, come on. We got to pep this up, right, Shane? We got to get this attitude up and happy again. Strange. Great to have you, brother. Always good to have you. And Luke sitting over here quietly, patiently waiting. How are you, sir?
Good, you?
Yeah, I'm doing all right after my 10-minute monologue.
I was hanging shit on you in the comments.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you were. How are you today?
I'm great.
You tell me what's up with your day today.
Well, it's what is it? 12 on Wednesday here. So I'm the day ahead of you, the middle of the day.
Up 7 p.m. the night for us Central.
Yeah, and yeah. So I've been out this morning, but when I got back, I was logging on, and then I had a few blue tongues leave me some finger paintings. So I was quickly giving those a clean up before we started, because it's nothing worse than that smell in the background. So
right. So
yeah.
Is that how cleaning works for you? Are you just really a spot on guy like that? I mean, in your collection, I mean, you guys seem really interactive with your animals, though.
Yeah. So I probably do once a day. I'll do like a full walk through the blue tongues. So I'll open every enclosure, check water, spot clean any feces, swap. I keep my blue tongues on paper, so swap paper, that sort of thing. So once a day, I do a full check of every enclosure. But then this, where I'm sitting right now at the computer, is actually where I work, like my full-time job. I work remotely online, so I'm sitting here. So if I
what do you do?
And I sell water tanks.
You sell water tanks.
Yeah.
Okay. Like potable water?
Yeah. Yep. A bit of everything. Stormwater, potable water. I do a bit of everything. I do like pump stations and.
I'll be honest, man. Aquaponics is so huge in Australia. I find myself always learning from a lot of aquaponics development in Australia, especially. So I'm sure you run into that in your job for water tanks, right? You probably provide facilities with, storage vessels and grow vessels and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I did the pond building course. Greg Whitstock, the pond guy in America. He built all the ponds at Camp Kennan's place, and things like that. He's pretty big over there. He runs a global aquatic company that make these pond kits, so you can build your own ponds. And I did the course in Australia to do the installs and stuff for those ponds. Mostly for my own interest, but so I'm into all that sort of stuff as well. Yeah, because I work in this seat full time. Like during the day, like if I see something that needs to be done or I smell something that needs to be done, I do it straight away. Like I don't just leave it till at 5 o'clock I'm going to check everyone. So if I see a shit at 2 o'clock, I'll just leave it and deal with it at 5. Like, no, fuck that. I'll clean it straight away.
Well, it's worth pointing out Troy Schroeder's comment. Luke, I hope all is well in Australia. I'm looking forward to you making it to the States for a show. I agree with that. I think that would be incredible, man, to come to the States for a show. And absolutely, Troy, absolutely worth reaching out, brother. Absolutely. No problem anytime. And in this case, like that's, looking in other countries and how you are able to mesh your trade with your hobby, with your daily job, right? In the way that, dude, you are super active. I'm looking at your Instagram number, 68.3 thousand followers on Instagram. You're always making reels with these lizards eating. You're always, doing this outreach. It's very family friendly, which I think is great. So that means you obviously appeal to a wide scope of people, much wider than this shit here appeals to that we're watching here. But at the same time, like how is that for you with this hobby in Australia, given that the animals you work with aren't native there? So how's the market for you guys? I'm always fascinated by what drives somebody to do that level of work in a room with animals that can only work with, what's native.
Yeah. So look, it's definitely a smaller community in Australia and a smaller hobby than what you guys have got, just in sheer population size. I think it would be very hard to be a full-time reptile keeper or breeder in Australia, just with the amount of stuff you produce and then sell to make a full-time income, it will be pretty tough. We do pretty well. Emma produced nearly 400 bearded dragons this season. So
a lot.
It's a lot.
That's
it's a lot. But they're all pretty much sold. I think we're down to about our last 50 babies that have hatched in the last 2 weeks, and then that'll be the end of it, end of the season. So and they all sell. We don't have any problems selling our stock. But yeah, it is a smaller hobby, so to be a full-time thing's probably a bit hard. Also, we've got a youngish family. We've got 4 children, so we're building a new house this year. We want to build a bigger house. So we have a bigger reptile room and stuff. So the bank in Australia likes pay slips from a regular income rather than being your own business.
being an at-home person for sure. So me and Emma both work full time, but we both work. She works a couple of days a week in the office, but mostly remotely, and I work full remote. And we're building a new house that's bigger, so we've got a bigger reptile room this year, and it'll also have 2 studies in it. So we'll have our own office each, so we can work full time from home. Plus, we'll have the lizard room all in the house. That'll make it a lot easier.
That'll be great. Yeah, because at the moment, like, my office is in the lizard room. It's a little cramped, to be fair.
Right. Yeah. So a little difficult. And then, of course, having to clean up something in the middle of the day if you have a particularly stinky, thing that occurs in the middle of the workday. Then I'm
sure I'll be going over and checking the lizards during the day anyway, like just get up and down a bit. And I think I'll put my office in the next house is quite big, the way I've designed it. I probably will select 1 or 2 animals to be in the office with me.
Right.
Because, I love them. So I was thinking maybe the lace monitors might live in my office.
Oh, yeah, that would be a great thing to have in there. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, John from Underworld's Exotics said, how's it going, everybody? Luke, Sean, long lost brother. Wow, we look the same? Yeah, I got to lose some weight. I'm a little thick in the face right now.
Are you saying I'm fat? It's stuff.
But no, that's it. I mean, I'm not a bad looking guy, so that's a good compliment to him, right? And his woman's amazing looking, so maybe that means I got hope. Maybe that means I need to move to Australia. Where's Emma from? I need to move wherever Emma's from. But that's it. That's the secret, right? I mean, they said they had a face for radio, and they meant it, right? So, yeah, and I mean, I got to shout out to Colin. We got rushed off of our show a little early that day because he had that special event with his daughter, which I'm so glad to have left it for that reason, but and not something more serious. But we got to have him back on the show.
He's got more children than me.
What's that? Yeah, he's big. Yeah, but did you see that shirt he was wearing on my show, bro? He's like the Austin Powers of reptile catchers in Australia, dude. With his fucking video game light in the background and shit. I was. He
does some funny videos.
Dude, there was some panty dropping shit going on that video. There's no doubt. I mean, Colin definitely had me on it. There's no doubt. So, but yeah, it's good to have all of you that have joined us here. 40 people in the live chat. So thank you a lot for being here with this gentleman from Australia who, let's see, how old are you now?
40. I'm 41 next month. Yeah.
41. And I mean, a childhood growing up catching stuff like most people would say. I mean, like, look, you've done shows. You've done MJ's show. You've done Chris's show. You've done other shows, right? I think you did Derek's show. You're obviously going to retell this story again, but
my mom's
I think it's fascinating to be okay. So your mom's a veterinarian.
Yeah. So she's a veterinary biologist. So she's more a scientist rather than working directly with the animals.
Okay.
So and we used to have
very much more interested in the stuff then, more academic and more research and things.
Yeah. So she's a full-blown nerd. Okay. And we had a laboratory in our house growing up where she used to test bloods and do all sorts of stuff. And she used to have a rodent breeding facility there because she used to do a lot of testing on rodents. And so there was always that sort of scientific side of things. So that's definitely when I got into reptiles, it had to be like mutations and like genetics and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
you weren't just a conservation biology wasn't good enough for you, right? You weren't just studying Brettles and his research in outback biology. You were straight up looking for the weird shit.
Yeah, the wild type stuff doesn't really interest me much at all, to be honest. I'm into nature.
Well, it takes a foreign person to truly appreciate. I mean, I'm not saying you don't appreciate the microcosms that you have there in your country.
Yeah.
But it really takes a foreign herper, especially a generic swamper herper like me, who's like, look, alligator, look, speckled king snake, look. I mean, literally, our chart is very small. There's maybe 35, 40 reptiles on it that are notably prevalent throughout my area.
Yeah.
Every one of which an Australian would be more than enthralled to catch in the wild. So obviously I could give a fuck, right? I mean, so
yeah,
we
care about the
it.
wild stuff. Like,
right.
You've seen videos of me stopping and helping koalas get off the road.
Yeah, and I think that's fascinating. Like, I mean, at one time I showed my daughter that one that I think that is fucking fascinating. That, you know, I was able to show my little girl, like, check this out. He got out of his car and he helped a koala that was sitting in the middle of the road. And, you know, of course, that's one of her favorite animals, being, you know, 10 years old and being not Australian. Of course, the koala is one of the coolest. I mean, I've not been close enough to them to truly respect them like you have, but as close as I have been to them, it's pretty interesting. Shane says, what does he train the koala to do? I'm not sure what this man is capable of. Just get off the road. I don't know, man. I mean, you might be able to turn those things into ninjas. I'm not sure. You know,
they're really noisy at night, and they growl. Like, you know, we go camping.
I was quite shocked at how much noise they made, because when I saw them at the Tampa Zoo, they were being incredibly loud with each other when we saw them, and I was like, "Wow, that's really fucking loud."
If you didn't know what the noise was, like when we were camping at nighttime, you're in your tent. If you didn't know what the noise was, you would absolutely shit yourself. They sound like a lion, you know, like it's really crazy.
That's another one of those African moments at night, right? Doop, 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 whoop, whoop. Yeah. Some weird shit making sounds.
Yeah, we don't really have anything that can eat you here.
Right.
We have stuff that'll bite you and you'll die because they bit you, but they're not gonna consume you. But
or trample you, or sit on you, or hit you with their head with their incredibly long neck. I mean, but
a koala sounds like it could eat you at nighttime. Yeah,
right. I would imagine it's pretty unsettling. So, I mean, of the wildlife, you have a pretty prevalent amount of wildlife where you live, or you're mostly citied up where you live?
No, I live about an hour north of the city. I'm in a residential area, but literally across the road from my house, there's a reserve that we often have kangaroos. Like, I can look at kangaroos from my bedroom. When I drive down the road, like that koala was like 3 kilometers from my house. Yeah. The one I got off the road. So
pretty good bit.
It's nice. Yeah, it's out. We have reptile wise. We have brown snakes, copperheads, tiger snakes. We have lace monitors wild here. We have blue tongues wild here, shinglebacks wild here. So we have a few reptiles as well. So it's pretty good.
Yeah. That sounds exciting. That sounds like a good enough area to live in, especially to be cautious enough in, especially with that list of snakes, right? Because that's a fairly nasty list of snakes.
Yeah, but snakes don't chase people. You know, people fucking
they
dumb.
Definitely don't. That's true.
I hate, you know, I'm on all like the local community Facebook groups, and you'll see someone put up a photo of a snake. Oh, I just saw this snake in this street, you know, watch out, you know, and everyone's like, kill it, you know. I'm just like, listen, give me your address. I'll come around and I'll show you.
Yeah, I'll come around and get it. Yeah. come grab it and at least show somebody.
You know, and there's a couple of good deal. There's a couple of good snake catchers in my area that help us out. I found a copperhead not that long ago down the road from me with its head stuck in a beer can, and I just got it off the road and hung out with it until a snake guy came and helped me remove it from the can. because I didn't want
Yeah.
to do it myself. I'm not Colin, I don't
Right.
want to touch them too much,
Right. Did you send me is that one you sent me a video of that? Did
Yeah,
you?
it's on my Instagram. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
you
pretty
sent me a
sure I
video
did.
of it.
Yeah.
I was
Well,
looking
we'll
back in my messages to see if I can
cutting
pull
its
it
head
up.
out of the can. So
Yeah.
it was pretty
Yeah, it was a
cool.
very interesting video to see. That was a big old snake that was in that can too. I mean, that was a
just
long,
had
it was a
just had
long
the end of its
animal that was
head.
in the can.
Just had the end of its head stuck in there, But yeah. But yeah, so we get quite a lot of wildlife, and it's nice, I like looking after the local stuff, It's
Yeah. So, what
important
are
to
the
me.
laws like in Australia about interjecting in local wildlife? Do you guys have specific laws preventing you helping things, preventing
I
you?
think, I think you're supposed to be a registered wildlife rescuer
Right.
or a snake, especially for
Otherwise, you're supposed to
snakes.
go on about your way, type thing.
Yeah, or call someone to come and help you,
Okay.
like Colin's a licensed snake catcher in his area, etc.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I often get calls in my area about reptile stuff. I've seen this snake, or I've done that, and I know the other local guys, so I can just get them and say, hey, go and give them a hand, or I can go down there and just watch the snake until someone else comes.
Now, are lace monitors ever a danger to people in a way of?
Nah.
No.
No.
I mean, I know that larger laces in captive conditions, especially used to following a bucket of food around, can be incredibly dangerous when they get large. I mean, I have a few friends that have had some problems with their lace monitors biting their appendages and having nerve damage and things from that. It's a particularly nasty bite. But I just didn't know how the wild populations of them would be.
Nah, they want to get away from you in most instances. The local snake guy that actually helped me with the copperhead, he rang me not long after that copperhead actually and said, oh, I'm down in this other estate on the other side of my town. There's a lace monitor on someone's back fence. I'm going to go and grab it. Do you want to come give me a hand? So I went down and gave him a hand and we chased it up a tree, and then he went up and grabbed it. It was only a juvenile.
I was going to ask you what size you see them get to as adults in your area, since you live in
when you go camping, maybe 2 to 2.5 meters long. They'll raid campsites. They'll come and steal your food out of the bin and
wish we had that shit in America. I wish a fucking 3 meter Gila monster came out from under a rock to go and eat some peanut butter and jelly. That would be fucking amazing, wouldn't it, folks? I mean, wouldn't that be amazing in West Texas? This big fucking Heloderma comes out and it's like, hey, I'm a monitor too. I just been separated for the last, couple million years. And here I am to fuck your world up. It just seems like a lot of fun to have, that's what Colin says. Nah, you just have bears and mountain lions. Yeah, we do have bears and fucking cougars and shit. And then I guess that's pretty dangerous. And yeah, you're right. Fuck that. I mean, I was like again, dude, I'm from the swamp. We have bears. They're black bears. They're generally not that aggressive. And if you did see one, you're probably closer to a wildlife preserve than you think, just because they're so incredibly rare. But if absolutely, if I lived in Montana, that'd be a different situation, with fucking giant bears and shit.
On Instagram, I just sent you that copperhead again.
Okay. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, I'm pulling up here. Add this to the stream here. Yeah. So yeah, this is him cutting it out of the can. So cutting its head out of the can.
Yep. So that's how I found it, but it was right in the middle of the road. So I just got a big stick and moved it off the road, and then parked my car in between it and everyone else, so it was safe. And I just hung out with it. Actually, hung out with it live on Instagram. Had people talking, and I was just telling everyone, don't leave your cans on the side of the road, you pricks. Right. Yeah.
Yep. So. Yep. Absolutely.
But he was great,
on the side of the road, not without crushing them all the way. And
he's a local guy, and he's a legend. Yeah. So
well, that's good. That's good. Yeah. And I mean, to have somebody out there that's actually doing that. And if you're not having that much exposure to the animals, it's not that big of a deal. But when you start having a lot of exposure to the animals, man, you can really eradicate some animals when you got some people out there cutting their heads off, I mean, I happen to live in an area where there's a lot of people that are, this area used to be mostly woods and swamp, Luke. I mean, and all these people moved from the city of New Orleans, moved north and cut all these fucking trees down. And all of a sudden I have the reptile shop that's, the local area. I had the local area reptile store, and I was, there's a gas station around the corner from my store. And Luke, I'm in the store one day, and these people are, this country lady like, hey, you're the guy with the snake place from behind us, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's me. And she's like, how do you keep snakes off your property? And I'm like, who's asking? And this guy was like, I'm asking the city, guy from, and how do you keep snakes off your property? I just moved out here. And I was like, move the back where the fuck you came from. That's it. Move back to the city from whence you came. Did you have snakes where you lived before? No, no, sir, I didn't. I didn't have to deal with this problem. Well, go back from where you fucking came from then. That would be my best answer for you, because all of the mothballs and all of the snake repellent and all of the shit you buy that is, first of all, probably causing some environmental harm that you don't realize.
You just got to leave them
you just
alone.
gotta realize that this is where they fucking live, right? I mean, and that's it. It just, or Luke, somebody will dig a pond. Somebody will dig a 2-acre pond and be pissed off that they have water snakes and our cottonmouths, right? Our venomous stuff gravitate towards it, and it's just like, motherfucker, you took fucking, one of my neighbors was pissed because he had a bunch of, there were just water snakes, non-venomous Nerodia, right? Water snakes living at his horse pond in his yard. And I was like, bro, we're in a 3,000 acre clearing and you dig a 2-acre hole that's always full of clean fucking water and fish. What in the actual fuck did you think was going to happen? I'm like,
I would put the pond in to attract the wildlife.
Like, that was it. That's it. Exactly. Like somewhere there's somebody building a concrete hole in the middle of a pond like this and calling it a wildlife pool in America and paying a bunch of money for it to swim with the bass and the perch and the other shit, right? Which, by the way, I got to tell you, bro, the fish geek in me is all in your country too. I really could give up my whole entire life for Australia. I really could. I don't think I'd give up my kid for it, but I'd consider it. I'd consider the option. I would consider the checkbox of, I get to trade Bo for a lifetime in Australia by a reef and a forest. And because I saltwater and reefing, bro. Like obviously you guys got the reefs. But freshwater fish, your rainbow fish and your little blue-eyed fish and all, I'm a little nerd for all of your little fucking fish, bro. You guys have an incredible, incredible ecosystem. So
it's a pretty big industry here too, the aquatic stuff. Like I'm not into that.
Yeah, it is. It is. I'm
Huge,
surprised that the aquatic industry is as strong and as big, and the reptile industry has not taken that follow of that. Why not? Why not? What's your take on that? Have you a take on that? Because your country's so rich in both things as a natural resource. It seems a shame.
I think maybe it's just the age of the hobby. Like, I think people have been keeping fish a lot longer than people have been keeping reptiles. So, and because our population is small, just for things to grow take a lot longer. So,
what fish people would say, huh? Fish people would say the sophistication.
But yeah, I think the
that's what they would say.
The reptile hobby is growing. There's no doubt about it. Yeah,
it absolutely is. But when I see a country that's like, we do not allow importing of other wildlife. Yep. We do not allow exporting of our wildlife. But if it's got fins, fuck it. Let's go, bro. Let's fucking go. Like, really, I'm serious. Like, when it's got fins, it's like fucking stock market's on. It's let's fucking go. Like, rainbow fish, blue eyes, even the fucking saltwater, all of it.
Yeah, and even the bird people in Australia, like people have got macaws here.
But now birds, hang on now, birds as a higher end collectible item pet.
Yep.
They've had more smugglers, they've had more black market money, they've had more than reptiles. And for probably a couple hundred years longer, right? Like a couple hundred years. First of all, you have horses. Horses go fucking right back to Egypt, right? And probably horses go back as far as humans have been, putting shit on them and calling it a trade in a breeding of animal, right? But then you have something like birds, right? And then fish, now reptiles. Do you see Australia really opening its doors to that in the future, possibly?
No. Doesn't feel like it at the moment. I think it it eventually makes sense to, I think, look, I don't think they'll ever let stuff come in because they're worried about the environment. But if they regulate,
But they let all kind of fucking fish in, bro.
No. If they regulated it properly,
like, dude, I mean, seriously, talk to me about that. Like, dude, you can get
I
tetras
just
there,
wanna-
right? You can get guppies there. You can get all kind of shit there.
yeah, if you regulated it properly
Oh.
and charged a large license or a fee, and they made the government could make money, I think exporting captive bred reptiles would be good for the economy, good
Absolutely.
for the. There's so many positives. I don't,
especially for the amount of land that you have that you could basically designate to this stuff. I mean, you could more or less every bearded dragon in the world could be economically and fundamentally sourced from you. Every morph and of everything there. I mean, it just seems like such a waste of natural resources of a country that could be used as an economic front. I don't know.
Especially captive bred stuff and mutations.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. We don't want to be poaching stuff out of the wild.
No, not at all.
But this, there's no.
But what do you feed? What do you feed your bearded dragons as a staple insect? Crickets?
Wood roaches. They're sort of like what you guys use as a dubia, but our own version.
Okay.
Yep.
Your own version. Okay. So are there any domesticated crickets or anything in Australia available?
Yeah, crickets as well.
So you can get crickets. Okay. So
absolutely.
You can farm crickets. So you can farm bugs. There's no limitations on you farming bugs. No. Right. You can get set in an area where bearded dragons would naturally cohabitate in that area, which means you could basically run massive pole barn style breeding operations. And I mean, I don't know. It just seems like such a waste of a country full of dude, I'm not going to lie. I would much rather deal with the people of Australia and wild caught Australian coral, even though I don't want wild Australian coral like I want wild Indonesian corals. Indonesian corals have more color. They come from deeper water with more nutrients. They just overall are more sought after, more like colorful, better looking corals. But bro, the shit from Australia just lives better. The people put more time into it. They care for it better. You know what I mean? You have much more of a first world country's abilities for exporting. It just seems insane to me that disparity between aquatics and reptiles is so far in Australia. It's really weird. When I looked at it, I was like, wait a minute, you can have these fish in Australia? What if somebody just lets them go in a fucking stream where rainbow fish live? That is beautiful, clean, clear, neutral pH water that's got tons of food and vegetation, and everything about it means fuck.
Where would you rather buy a bearded dragon from? From me in Australia or some bloke in Hong Kong?
Not fucking here. Not fucking. I think I'd rather buy it from some bloke in Hong Kong than here to be at this point. But because it's closer to you. But because I'm here, I'm dealing with these ball-headed nosed fucking weird. I sound like Jessica Hare.
You'd be. It would be great if we could do it, and hopefully one day we will. But
well, and
I'm not holding my breath.
You're not holding your breath, right? But I mean, are there still people actively trying to approach the government with this, or is this just nobody fucking bothers with it anymore, and it's just not really a thing?
I'm not involved at a level that I would know that. Yeah,
no.
Because it just is what it is for me.
Okay, all right. So what species you bearded dragons and blue tongues is where you've really settled on, but has it taken you many years to get through the list of the gamut of Australia? I mean, I know where I would be, and it wouldn't be either of those two things, but that's okay. Not that I don't love them. Not that I don't love blue tongues. And then Pagona, I'm not so much on just an inland, but I'm very much a fan of some of the other species of Pagona that you have.
Yeah. So for me, like I said earlier, is that I wanted mutations. So the blue tongue is, really in sense of a quantity of different mutations and the way they work recessively and the way you mix them and all. They really are our ball python. We don't have ball pythons, but we've got the blue tongues. We've probably got about 10 recessive mutations and a couple of codon mutations now. Plus, we've got pattern mutations. Then we've got lots of stuff. Plus, people line breed for colors and all that. But we have got a good level of mutation there. And now people are doing a double, triple, and quad recessive mixes. And so, I really liked watching the ball python scene on the internet, and watching it in America. And I like all that, I like the Punnett squares. I like working out what you're going to make. That's the scientific side of it I like. So that's what attracted me to blue tongues. My first lizard was actually shinglebacks. I had a couple of shinglebacks, but they sleep a lot. They're pretty boring.
I love them, and of course, wild type wise, they're incredible.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. But for me, I wanted more colors and mutations, and I wanted to breed different stuff. So I went from
and not to
shinglebacks
mention
blue tongues.
Blue tongues reproduce much quicker too, right? I mean,
yeah. So shinglebacks
easier and quicker than
shinglebacks
than stumpies.
Shinglebacks pair up for life. They're monogamous, and they have maybe 2 babies a season. If they breed every season, sometimes they only breed every
season, right?
Every second season, yeah. So, when the blue tongues, my biggest litter of blue tongues is 14 in a mutation. So I went from shinglebacks to blue tongues, and I sort of picked up most of the single gene recessives that I was interested in, and then I spent time focusing on doing double recessive hets. And now I'm breeding the double recessive hets to each other to make double visual recessives. So I'm sort of like in my 4th year of sort of going down that road. And that's what I really enjoy. And then my wife was interested after I got into it, but she wanted to get a bearded dragon. So I encouraged her to get a mutation, because I was like, well, let's not get wild type shit bearded dragons. So we got our first bearded dragons, we got a 1.2 100% het zeros, and they were all hypo, and a couple were trans and one was non-trans, but het for trans. So we had a little bit of a game plan there, and we had a trio, a 1.2 trio. And we built our bearded dragon colony up from that. Held back stuff.
What's the hottest bearded dragon gene there is? Single gene at this point.
Zero was the last couple of seasons. It's now becoming a little bit more common because we've bred a lot of it. Probably whiplets is probably now.
What's that?
Pretty sort of whiplets. Do you know what whiplets are?
Whiplets?
Yeah.
Whiplets.
So
it's another patternless.
It looks like a zero, but it has color. Yeah.
A colored zero. It's like a dusky colored zero, right? I'm looking on Morph Market at the wit list. Wit Blitz.
Yep.
Fuck named this. Named it.
Yeah. The word actually means
Whitless.
white lightning in South Africa.
Okay.
Because it popped out in a South African.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay.
That's where it came from.
Trans.
Yeah, originally.
So it's like a dusky colored zero. That's interesting.
Yeah, and but you can add more color into it. So some of them are quite high colored. I've got an adult female that's yellow, and like she's seriously yellow, like really yellow. Right, so yeah, you get a patternless high colored animal, and then you can breed zeros and whiplets together and make weeros. So you can make all sorts of stuff with those. So we've got those, so that's cool. So that's what got us into the dragons. So then we had the blue tongues and the dragons, and then I realized, like, my Instagram page has grown a lot, as you said before. I've got 68,000 followers, but I realized that if I wanted to have a credible Instagram page, a bunch of pet logs with really short legs and bearded dragons, probably wasn't going to cut it, you know. So I decided to get lace monitors.
Yeah,
something that could eat my children, you know.
Right, I saw you started to keep the lacies. Or would you get 2?
I got 2. Yes, I've got a Bell's and a normal.
So I got Bell's named Snoopy.
That's Snoopy, yeah, and I got a normal.
Snoopy.
That's a blue tongue we just got. If you go up,
there's your wonderful photo of you and Snoopy. Yeah,
that's me and Snoop. Yeah,
incredibly gorgeous to Bell's face.
And then if you
if I go down somewhere, the other one was.
Thought I had another one there. Wasn't that long ago I showed it off, I think. Or I have made some videos recently of it. I just haven't posted them yet. So, but yeah, I've got a pair. So I've got a normal and a what do they call a classic? Oh, there it is. So there's the pair together.
Yeah. It's so, man, that Bell's phase is so fine. Whew.
Yeah. So the Bell's, it's sort of
I'm kind of glad. I was supposed to get a regular phase lacy in trade for a pair of Australian geckos. Actually, it was a very cool trade. It was a trade of Nephurus delini, the little delines, the little tiny delini, Nephurus. It was a pair of Nephurus delini for those, and I was curious if my delini Nephurus might have been maybe a little bit weird looking. Like, I didn't know if they got crypto from some bugs or something like that, right? They didn't look right. And I don't remember who it was that was doing the trade with him, but I told him to hold off. I'm like, bro, let's wait a week and let me see how these geckos do, because this is too big of a trade for it just to go bad on you like that. And literally the female gecko died like a few days later. So I never did not get in the lacies, but dude, it's for the better.
Better.
I would have done with some crazy fuck. I was building an insane cage outside my apartment, Luke. I have I'm downstairs in this room. Right outside the wall right here is where my elevator goes upstairs to the apartment that I was living in at the time here in my building. And I was actually building this giant pentagon corner cage that went all the way up to the roof line. I was going to build it 28 feet tall to where I could put an arboreal lizard that would go to the top of the cage and chill upstairs. When you were in the second floor deck, you could just chill in the canopy with whatever would live up there.
Well,
I was going to put a lace monitor up there. It would definitely go up 28 feet, no doubt.
Yeah.
So
but yeah, I've just got them at the moment in like a 3-foot enclosure because they're small.
Right, they're still small.
They're in that one there where the ladder is. They got like a little kid, little bird ladder. Yeah, they're great fun. Snoopy's eating at the moment.
Yeah, they're great fun now. They're small enough, and they're you can tolerate their nails digging into your arms and things. When they weigh 50 pounds, it's going to be a different story.
Yeah,
but digging in pretty crazy. But
I'm hoping I handle them every day. I'm trying to make them as tame as possible. And yeah.
Well, I think this is a good question that Quirky had. Do you have a Morph Market type of website over there in Australia that you guys use to do any listings, or you have to just do it all by grassroots and hard work?
No, we do. The one that everyone uses is called Australian Reptile Classifieds.
Okay.
I think it's very similar to a Morph Market setup. But it's just like an online advertising space. You can go on there and you can search up the animals and you can put in the type of species and stuff you're looking for, and away you go. A friend of mine, and Collins, actually runs that website. And it's excellent. That's where everyone sells. Yeah.
I'm gonna go back over to your Instagram page because I really dude, you're so active, and the reels and stuff. You guys go give a Lizard Morphs a follow on Instagram, instagram.com/Lizard Morphs, plural, and just check it out, because every day there's something new that they're doing. Like this nose plug video, I must have watched this like 15 times in repeat because this bearded dragon literally goes into like Zen aftershock. Like that bearded dragon came after, literally it ejaculated after that came out. Like watch this bearded dragon. Oh, you just watch that reaction. Who doesn't want this to happen to them?
So she was rubbing her face on the side of her enclosure for like half an hour. I watched her doing it, and
Yeah.
she was really trying to get out. And then I hadn't done anything about it. And then Emma yelled out and said, "Do you want a video of a nose plug?" Delilah has a big nose plug, so I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So
right, but that whole eyes closed. Thank you, dude. Like, look into this lizard is so amazing. Like, it was one of those moments where I was like, oh, not Geo can't catch that shit. You know, but just watching the overall videos and stuff and time you guys put into them, I'm sure that your real jobs know you're doing this during the day. But
my job absolutely does. Like, as long as I'm selling the amount of stuff I
as
need
long
to
as
be
you're
selling,
selling shit, you're selling it. Don't matter, huh?
He doesn't
matter what we're watching. You cut up all the shit and dole out all of these great, like, literally, there are kids with Instagram accounts in third world countries sitting on the side of dirty roads that are thinking, fuck, I wish I ate as good as this guy's lizards. I wish my daddy fed me like this guy feeds his lizards.
I do look after.
I did get a kick out of all the stuff. So get on over to Lizard Morphs on Instagram and give them some.
So I try and do
the reels.
I do a reel every day.
Right.
So that's my strategy to grow the page, is to do one reel per day.
Well, that probably works for you too, especially when you're showing, when you're showing stuff like how you're setting stuff up and everything. I have a hard time watching some of your videos just because of the cool shit that I can't get, I mean, or let's the cool shit that's far beyond my price range because A, I can't pay somebody to smuggle it in, or B, it's just been smuggled in and it's just too expensive and it's not around yet enough. But looking at the bearded dragons and stuff, the structure of them overall and everything, I gotta say it's very impressive to see your animals, man. So thank you for sharing all that you do with them. I wish I could get some of these morphs. Really, some of that stuff's crazy good. What about snakes, bro? Are you anti-snakes in the house or what? Like you're surrounded by such a wonderful ecosystem of animals.
I have been tempted about snakes a lot, but lizards have so much personality,
I agree, but look, a couple of little Anthraceas in there wouldn't be too bad.
No,
a little Paraperthensis or something special. Tiny,
if I was gonna do something, I would definitely definitely probably some mixed blooded Anthracia, like Tarbles or marbles or albinos, or I like the albino Stimson pythons, stuff like that. So I like all those. Problem is everything I have, I like to breed. Like I breed every species we have. Even the kids have frogs in their bedrooms and the frogs breed,
okay.
And so we like to breed them. So Anthracia, from what I hear is that, baby Anthracias are fucking hard to get to eat. They're a pain in the ass.
Perthensis especially. No, the rest of them are very easy. We find that the other species are fine. The Perthensis is the one we really struggle with. I mean, we don't really have that much problems with children eye, Stimsons, spotteds, none of it. And really, I think
I wouldn't be as worried. But look, if I was going to do
I can't go outside and get me some little Diplodactyla species either, though. You know what I mean? Like you can go out and get some little Diplos of some sort, at least, and feed them. I think I touched on I did touch on a different show recently that I was talking to Casey Lazick back in the day, who was one of the primary, breeders of Australian reptiles outside of Australia in the 80s and 90s. And like Casey was telling me, actually, Casey called me a couple of Friday, right? Or Friday night before Christmas Eve. My phone just rang out of the blue, and it was Casey Lazick, one of my childhood heroes, calling me to tell me Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and that he wanted to come on and do a show soon. And got to be honest, it was unbelievable talking to him and having him reminisce about feeding the first black-headed pythons that came from Australia, and telling me about feeding some of those other species. But he would breed bearded dragons to scent the black-headed babies, and he was breeding Madagascan ground geckos for the Perthensis. And that was the secret, was the Paradoras, the little Pictus geckos from Madagascar. And because they are tiny. I mean, their eggs are like the size of a jelly bean type, candy, very small egg. I mean, honestly, that's probably exactly how big a Pictus gecko egg is. It's about a jelly bean size egg. And it was like trying to get some of those species to eat, man. I mean, I know Grace is sometimes using like mouse tails and pinky legs and shit to get them started. So yeah, I could imagine it could be a problem, but I also,
So
like I said,
I'm into snakes, but like
yeah.
I'm doing. I feel like I'm doing really well with the blue tongues this year. I had a pretty successful season. I had quite a few litters.
So how many animals, how many blue tongues do you have communally, or however you keep them individually, however you keep them?
I keep everything individual.
Everything's individualized.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. Same with the bearded dragons. The adults are all kept individual. But blue tongues at the moment, I'm sitting on about 35
adults.
Okay. Yeah.
And most of them are. I see some tubs behind you, but most of them are in cages. Are they in tubs or what?
Bit of a mixture, actually. I'm not one of these people that's like, oh, they've all got to be in enclosures. They've all got to have UV. I don't subscribe to that theory. I've got some.
Well, I mean, blue tongues should be capable of. I mean, all right. So we've definitely uncovered, by way of veterinary research, we've uncovered the fact that UVB benefits everything, not just omnivorous reptiles, but that carnivorous reptiles can benefit from UV in their bone structure. But having said that, a blue tongue should count, even though it is an omnivorous animal, it should kind of count under that monitor-esque class of non-UVB requiring species, right?
I've got blue tongues that if I put them in an enclosure with a UV light and a glass front and all that, they won't eat. And I put them in a tub, in a rack, and they'll eat. And then I've got the reverse. I've got some blue tongues, I put them in the rack. They will rub their nose on the tub until they get a sore, and they won't eat when they're in a tub. You put them in an enclosure with a light and stuff to do, and they're happy. So
it's interesting.
They're not all the same. I think one of the things I think people get really massive collections and then lose touch with knowing their animals, right? You know, I know that, Edward, for example, one of my blue tongues, hates being an enclosure, hates UV, likes a tub. Everyone else has 2 layers of paper. Edward has 4, right? Because he likes to screw 2 bits of paper up, make a bit of a nest thing in his hide every time. Yeah, I just know what each animal
sounds
likes.
Like a fucking ball python. Sounds like a weird little quirky species, like a ball python.
Yeah, you just got to know them. You know, some like it, some don't. You know, it's funny. I've got some albinos. I thought, the albinos won't like the UV, right? You know, they'll want to be in a tub. They won't like the light. The light will annoy their eyes or whatever. I've got 2 albino females that if they're not in an enclosure with a UV light, they won't eat. So it just is what it is. So I think you just got to learn what your animal's quirks are, know your individual animals, and treat them all as individuals. So I'm sitting at about.
Now, of course, all the bearded dragons are all in enclosures, right? Because there's not.
Well, it's not negotiable with a bearded dragon.
Yeah, you don't really have. I mean, I have a racking system for bearded dragons here, but it's more or less just tubs in a rack with screen tops, so they still have
correct. So
everything. So I have a setup like that here that works very well. But really, it only works well for bearded dragons.
So with the beardies, they're all in 3 or 4 foot enclosures, depending on the size of the animal. They've all got UV heat. They always have a water bowl. I know that's a bit of a conjecture in America whether you should leave the water bowl in there all the time. I always leave a water bowl in there. But I do have babies in tub setups. So how I do the babies in the tub setups is I use like quite a large tub that's tall, and I've got a rack, and I've got 2 per level, and then each tub has got its own heat and UV light above it. And having that light heats down and above, you know.
Right. So 905 asked, did he say his albinos do better with UV light, ate better with the UV light?
Yeah. 2 of them.
Do. Okay.
But it's not every animal. So I've got 2 females that will only behave like a blue tongue should behave by being in enclosure with a UV. And then I've got a male albino that lives in a tub because he doesn't.
Mhm.
He likes to be hidden. So they're all so different. And so if I've got an animal in a tub rack and it's not eating consistently, I'll try it in an enclosure. Then I'll try a different temperature. Then I'll try different food until I find what works for them all.
It's always good to do that. Yeah, it's always good to alter your methodology amongst those. Even captive bred animals, especially animals that came from other vendors and other dealers and other areas, and you're not familiar with their care. Because I mean, you got ball python people out there doing ambient, you got heat tape, you got nighttime drops, you got not nighttime drops. I mean, look, I'm not gonna lie, I would like to do something as nature-like as possible, right? Like that's how I always did it. When people would ask me, mainly, to be honest, it was a lot of times it was back before 2010 when Celia, my first fiance, was with me still, and we were very successful breeding boa constrictors. It would seem like it was always the thing where people were like, what are you guys doing to breed these fucking boas? Like, I mean, bro, I'm not doing, it's not some ancient Chinese secret. That's nothing. That's all right. You're good. It has nothing to do with, it has nothing to do with her and her belief system. You know, it's not some secret. It's just the fact that, you know, we try a lot of different things. You know, I can remember one of the guys at East Bay Vivarium when she was younger telling her to give it 4 different hide boxes. And she was just like, what the fuck was this guy thinking, telling me to give it 4 different hides? And I was like, what? Did he tell you to give it a wet hide and a dry hide on the hot side and the cold side? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, so that's an environment. Stop acting like an asshole. You know, it's just like, why don't you act like a responsible animal keeper? Just because you have a fucking cat and you don't give it a wet hide and a dry hide on the hot side and the cold side. I mean, this is technically an environment you're trying to provide. So you should be willing to provide those 4 things. I don't think very many reptiles need those 4 hides, but I think once you realize the 2 out of the 4 that motherfucker uses all the time, you could probably focus on those 2 and take the other 2 out. You know?
Yeah. So with the blue tongues, I've used lots of different things, but I've found they actually enjoy the paper instead of a substrate, and I give them all 2 or 3 layers. They get in between the layers.
Right.
They mess it up. You know, when they're out in the wild, you often find them in leaf litter. They burrow down in stuff. You know, so the paper makes them feel really safe.
Oh, yeah, me even skinks here. It's the same physiology, bro. Like if I'm finding like blue-tailed skinks here in the south or red broad-headed skinks here in the south, I'm finding them like in layers of like plastic that's been folded up or metal or something like that between tin layers and stuff. I mean, that's just where they want to live. So I mean, I think it's also conducive to their scales too.
Yeah, I put paper through the shredder as well, and I give them shredded paper in their hides, so they can sort of rustle around in that. They always have a water bowl. You know, I know some people say, "Oh, I give them water every second day," or this, that.
What about climate on your blue tongues, bro? What do you do climatizing them? Do you cool them off in your winter time, or what's your cycle time look like?
Yeah, if you don't brumate them, they won't breed, in my opinion. You got very low chance of getting.
How low of a brumation would you consider to be suitable?
I turn their heat source off for 6 to 8 weeks.
6 to 8 weeks. What would you say the bottom of that is?
Well, they live inside my house, so my wife is not cold-blooded. She likes the heater on. 18C2.
You doing the Fahrenheit conversion? Look at this nice guy helping everybody out with the C to F conversion. Look at you.
Probably about 60.
Okay. All right.
So that's the cold, you know.
Photo period changes at all? Lighting changes or no? Lighting is lighting. Lighting is lighting.
So the UV, so during the summer months, the UV lights in this room are on for 12 hours a day. And in the winter, they're on for 6 or 8 hours, depending on the month.
Okay. So you do cut your photo period then. Okay.
Yeah, I do both.
This is how we bred ball pythons in the early days, guys who breed ball pythons that are watching this podcast. This is exactly how we got started with ball pythons. Somebody asked me, what would you do? I said, well, look, I go and my lights come on in my room when the light comes on outside. And when the light goes off outside, the lights go off in the room. Well, what about your heat? Well, when the lights in the room go off, the heat goes to a different temperature at night in the winter months. But in the summer months, it's the same 24 hours a day. And I actually used to run nighttime drops and simulate all that for my ball pythons. And honestly, dude, I still didn't think it made a difference either way. I think they were going to breed regardless of how they were going to breed with or without.
In non-brumation time, I have the heat on for 16 hours a day, and I have the heat off for 8 hours at night for all the blue tongues. And for the dragons, it's on for 16 hours a day and then turned down at night. We don't turn it completely off. The dragons' heat's never completely off because they're more of a Central Australian species. They like it a bit hotter.
And I always found it interesting that bearded dragons would respond to light for heat versus actual warmth, right?
So we've
they respond to the light more than if you put a fluorescent bulb on one side of the cage that produces no heat, and you put a ceramic heat emitter on the other side of the cage, the bearded dragon will bask in the light, not in the heat, because it doesn't know heat for heat's sake. It knows heat for light's sake.
Yeah. So in most of my larger dragon enclosures, there's two screw-in heat lights at one end and a long UV. But the two screw-in heat lights, I always use one that's a globe that gives off a light, and one that is a spiral, like an infrared spiral, because it gives that more penetrating heat.
Off more heat.
But I never put two spirals in because they don't, if they can't see it, they don't go to it.
That's right. I thought it was very amazing. I was very astonished by that when I learned that like 10 years ago, whenever it was that I learned that. It was a very interesting fact that I always understood. I'm like, oh, now I get it. Now I get why they would get burned so easily in certain conditions, and they would get, you know what I mean? Like, because I was always curious why. Because, you know, I mean, dude, they get the Central Australia, they get blistering hot in the middle of the fucking day. I mean, blistering fucking hot. How are you going to burn a lizard like that? Well, that's how. You know, you just burn it because it doesn't know that heat and light aren't they thinks heat and light are the same thing. So, good to have some of you guys popping in late in the show. Thanks for coming by. Hit the like and the subscribe button if you like what you're hearing here tonight. Luke in Australia has, I appreciate you giving me the advice on the blue tongues, Luke, because I've got a pair here of northerns or whatever that I've not bred yet, that I think it's a male and a female.
So you should be able to tell if it's a male and a female. Someone like yourself who's had their hands on reptiles before, it's pretty.
Blue tongues throw me for a loop, dude. I mean, when I look at them, this male's got a much bigger head. It's a much more predominantly visual difference in the two. But
at the base of the tail, where you would expect the hemipenes to be, right?
Sure.
Just behind the back leg on the base of the tail. Colin does it pretty successfully. Is the females has a bit of a scalloping. You can see it go. You can see an indent, and you can sort of feel there's nothing there. When the male's much fuller in that section of the tail, it's obviously got two dicks. So that's the spot
that's
to
interesting.
Have a little play around with.
And that's something that, like, I always looked at blue tongues like I looked at Gila monsters, and I was like, no, that's probably not possible. Hopefully it can sex with an ultrasound machine. Probably can't even do that. You know, and then
so the best way to sex them, if you want to sex them, is you can do two ways. The most common way in Australia is dye contrast X-rays. You just put a little bit of dye in the cloaca, X-ray them, and you can see the hemipenes or the hole where the hemipenes go. I don't know what that shaft is called. So you can see that. The other alternative is, which they've just started doing in Australia. One of my blue tongues was actually the first blue tongue to ever be sexed in a CT machine.
Oh, okay.
So mine was the first blue tongue ever to be sexed in the CT machine at Unusual Pet Vets in Melbourne. And Dr. Shane Simpson, who's he's great. He took one of my girls and put her in the CT. There's actually there is a reel of that. I'll find it and show you one time. But she goes through the CT machine and it takes all the images. It's pretty amazing, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's an expensive way of sexing something, but that's
I didn't pay for it because we'll just
no, it's always in the fun of research, right? It's like when it's always good,
I got lucky.
I
got lucky, I think. But but so they're the ways that we do it here with a vet, is to either do the X-ray or the CT. But if you've got your own ultrasound, maybe you can. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I thought to give it a whirl, but then I thought, what if it's like what they've said in Gila monsters and in the actual testes are very active in the breeding season, and so you actually can't sex them unless it's in the breeding season because the male's testicles are only big enough in the breeding season to see them, right? So then you're like, fuck this is the pain in the ass. So like we looked at them with the ultrasounds. I did all that I could. And honestly, I was just like, fuck, man, I think I just got a bunch of males. And I just it actually turned out to be a bunch of males. So I think I had like 6 Gila monsters, and I think I had 5 males, which is exactly what
the dye contrast X-ray. Everyone thought it was about the size of the blue tongue. And I get my baby blue tongues up to size pretty quick. So we dye X-rayed them at like 3 months old, 4 months old, 5 months old, 6 months old. So, and I had, we did it as sort of a bit of an experiment with this vet that I know, Shane. And at 6 months old, my blue tongues were bigger than blue tongues that he's previously X-rayed and been able to tell the sex. And every single one of them was showing male at 6 months. And at 12 months old, they were all different. And it's got to do with the time, like the sexual maturity time, and not the size of the animal. The size is irrelevant. If they can be adult size, but if they haven't had puberty, or that sort of sexual maturity happen, you can X-ray them all you want. You're going to get no result. So that was really interesting. So now, I don't bother taking them to check them until they're of an age, not of a size.
So there you go. You actually have to have a sexually mature animal to be able to sex them.
They all look the same.
X-ray.
They all look the same for like 8 months.
Interesting. Interesting. Mike's monitor said, "How late am I? We already did the monitors, bro. That's how late you are." We already
You'll have to watch the replay.
We'll have to replay for the monitor moment. You thought he was gonna have some badass Australian monitor that no other person in the world has. He just has lacies. They're just lacies. They're just boring old lacies.
I've got Gillens as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got Gilleneye, and I love Gilleneye. I love Kingorum and Gilleneye and all those little tiny little anole-looking bastards. I love them. I wish I could set them free here in Louisiana, and I could see them. Like I was watching I was bored the other night and watching the Jurassic Park Dominion on the sideline, and I was thinking, oh yeah, this is what Florida looks like now. I was thinking, they got that in Florida now.
The Gillens are fun.
And I could just imagine the little Kingorum and the little Gilleneye running around like in the Everglades, like tearing down fucking brown anoles, like just eating them like heads of lettuce because they're so like the little velociraptors of the monitor community. I mean, guys, if you don't understand monitors, like I know you guys want monitors, like when we talk to Mike's monitors and you see this gruff little concrete guy and you're like, I'm going to be a man like Uncle Mike, or you see Kevin McCurley from Nerd and you're like, I'm going to be a fucking rock star like Kev. And then like, I see him. He's up there. And you know what? I'm in this little bitty monitors, like where the whole body is this long, where you're looking at them like when you're looking at a pygmy python that's this big and a Kingorum monitor that's this big, and you're like, if they're like microscopic giants, because you really like, who doesn't want the little aquarium with like a dolphin this big going, jumping in the waves, right? But here you have a monitor, a Kingorum that is a little, or a Gilleneye that is an 8 to 10 inch tail and all long adult version of a big motherfucking Parenti, Yeah,
they're so active. They're the best fun to watch.
They're coolest things to watch. Ackies and all of them. So get out there, guys, and get yourself some. Oh, you got more Togianus coming in. Oh, you just like them because they have anus in the name. That's the only reason he likes them. He likes the Togi anus. He
I
likes
think
the
the
Tuggy anus.
the Gillons are probably my daughter's favorite animals to get out and
There's no
interact
doubt
with.
that the Gillons are probably one of my favorite species, all in all. You know, I mean, I saw one on your Instagram here earlier. I was looking, I was scrolling. There you go. They're so cute. Look how fucking cute that is. That's so adorable. That's fucking adorable. Dude, and the way they'll dive into a hole after a bug and just destroy its ass and wreck it. Look at the size of that lizard, guys. It's precious.
Yeah, they're only little, but they're fun.
I love them. All of the little micro monitors are great. And
they're
so
super
overlooked.
active.
So overlooked, probably by cost. I wish this was a 3-headed black Tongue skink, but it's such a great picture of all the babies.
Did you see the twins?
I didn't see the twins.
See here, twins update.
Yeah, twins update.
Next one.
Yeah.
So those two bearded dragons came out of the same egg.
That's healthy. That's good. Never in America. They'd come out with a 5th leg.
Yeah, so two total different
different morphs.
Genetics.
Yeah, different genetics.
So they're both hypo, they're both trans. One's got 0, one doesn't. The 0 is actually bigger. It's the bigger, healthier of the two. But they're both
look
going great.
Though. They both look great. They both look good. That'll be interesting to see what adult size they reach. These hypers are so sexy, man. Why change anything about this sexy ass lizard, for fuck's sake?
That's my favorite mutation.
I want this and a hypermelanistic American alligator and just be and an IMG boa constrictor. And I'm just going to be that asshole in Mardi Gras in New Orleans with the 3 black reptiles. Have you seen that guy in a wheelchair? All of his reptiles are solid black, bro. They're insane. I would love to have some of these. They are absolutely phenomenal. When I got to Ty's place, I was just blown away. I sat there and fucked with him at Ty's for a while. I see you guys did a show.
So we did a couple hours with Ty, and he walked us. He actually had 2 staff.
That was during a hurricane,
and he walked us through the whole park, and he got out. He got every species of turtle out and showed us.
That's pretty spectacular. I'm gonna have to go back and watch this because I don't think I've had this level of Iguanaland coverage from Iguanaland. I think I'd probably see more from Iguanaland here.
So see, you had those two guys skipping enclosure to enclosure,
right?
And like literally just showing us like,
was this after a hurricane or something? Everything's flooded.
It was just after that last big one they had.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah.
But
it looks great. See, I mean, the last time I went was after Iguana Fest number 2, and none of these enclosures were finished yet. They were all working on this stuff.
Yeah,
I got to get back there.
They just showed us every animal. It was a lot of fun, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So anybody's in South Florida, go hit up Iguanaland and go give Ty Park some love. In Punta Gorda, what is that? North of Tampa, I think north of Tampa. Punta Gorda, Florida. It's super easy. You guys can fly into Tampa, rent a car, drive to Punta Gorda, stay in a nice regular type of hotel like a Hilton or whatever brand of regular hotel. And Ty's place is literally 15 minutes away. It's super convenient.
If you go to the top, go back to the top of the reels.
I'll go back.
Go up to the very top.
Yeah, I'll go back.
And then it'll say, it won't let you do it on a computer. On your phone, when you're in Reels, you can go to View Series, and all of the live streams I've done with Colin and our guests. They're on there, and so you can go back and watch them all. So we did an episode with Mason Barnes, who has lace monitors and all sorts of other geckos in Southern California.
Yeah, I would really like you to turn me on to a absolute gecko dork motherfucker in Australia that I could have fun with, because I think it would be fun to look into the Australian relief tail gecko and knobtail gecko populace with somebody that was particularly dorky like you and Colin are in your respective places. But with those, I want you to tighten me up with somebody that you know.
I've got somebody in mind actually. So
it's great. That'd be wonderful, because honestly, I think a lot of people they miss these microcosms of reptiles They know blue tongue skinks, right? Because hey, a few years ago, Brian Barczyk was everywhere telling everybody blue tongues were going to be the next big thing, and they did become a big fucking thing. And a few of my buddies did really well with them. Bearded dragons have been a huge thing for God as long as I can remember in American herpetoculture. I mean, or in global herpetoculture, really. But like a friend of mine hit
I
me up
still get
earlier
more
today.
views. I still get more views on bearded dragon shit than anything.
For sure. But I mean, it's what people know, right? But it's what people know. Like, let me go to any public place, right? Any huge populated place, whether it be in England, Canada, America, or Mexico, and ask people about lizards. You know what they're probably going to know? Iguanas and bearded dragons. They're probably going to know those two lizards. And I think a lot of people think bearded dragons aren't even bearded dragons. A lot of people think bearded dragons are probably frilled lizards. When you tell them bearded dragons, they probably think, oh, the thing from Jurassic Park with like the big head. No, not that. No, that's a frilled lizard that you're thinking of. But it's a lot like that. And it comes from the same place that comes from, you know. You've never kept frillies?
No, I haven't.
Surprisingly.
No, me and Colin have actually talked about it because, again, frillies' behavior and the way they act,
very flighty. They need a lot of space.
That would be good for Instagram, right?
Yeah, it would. Well,
good
yeah, because I mean they're the Australian basilisk. You know what I mean? Like that's the closest thing to a basilisk in Australia, in my opinion, would be something like a frilled lizard, where it's going to run on its hind legs and it's going to put a big show of itself, and it's going to be a big flamboyant fuck. But it's also going to be a neurotic motherfucker that's kind of a nightmare to keep in captivity, right? So you almost don't want to condone too much of it, right?
No,
like
look at when, as I said, I had the dragons and I had the blue tongues, and I needed I wanted something a bit different that wasn't sort of the most too common pet species in Australia. I wanted something a little bit different to put on the page. And but something that I would enjoy keeping and was interesting, and frilled necked was definitely on my list, but I ended up going for lace.
Yeah, and the lace monitor's got so much more personality to it, bro. I mean, come on, let's look at Snoopy, right, with his fucking big, just goofy jumping on your underwear rack and shit, you know, climbing on your sweatpants and everything. You know, just the overall film worthiness, and also bringing some more awareness and bringing some fun awareness to large lizards could probably not be a bad thing.
Yeah, and
it's probably not a bad thing.
I know in America, keeping large lizards is more common, you know, because you've got savanna monitors and water monitors.
Yeah, but that's what I was going to say. In the way of like Gould's monitors and Boss monitors and things, not in the way of something so athletic. Like, let's be thankful for a minute that not every shithead with a big lizard in America isn't running out with a croc monitor. Right, guys. Like, let's just say that at least when you go to the store and you're like, bro, I want one of these. Well, I want one of these. One of what? One of these crocodile monitors. Well, let's start you off with a water monitor and let's see how you do. And then when you graduate one day to something athletic enough to hurt you and own you, then we'll let you, you know, get into a croc monitor. You know,
I hope to train the lace monitors.
That's where I was getting at. When I see people keeping lacies, I'm like, wow, that's kind of a dangerous species. It can definitely be a dangerous species.
I spend a lot of time handling them. I feed them by hand. I want to be able to train them to walk in a harness, you know.
You feed them by hand, and Frank Reedus and Brian Greg Fry, that I know both have partially fucked up hands from their lace monitors fighting them because their lace monitors were trained to eat from their hands. I mean, I think I remember Frank telling him, like, he was carrying the pail. It was like a metal pail, and it bit around his hand, around the handle of the pail. And not only did it crush his hand, but it crushed his hand with the metal pail handle through his hand. And I'm like, oh, that sounds like shit, bro. That sounds like total shit, bro. Like, and then I'm hearing these pussies like, I hope my Amazon emerald tree boa doesn't bite me one day because it has long teeth. And you're like, bro, you see this dude got mauled by his lace monitor. You can't make a fist anymore. You know,
Well,
you gotta be mindful of species that can have that kind of a punch. So
yeah, well, that look,
yeah.
because I know that's the sort of animal they can be. You know, same like, you know, people that own a pit bull, if they don't look after the pit bull, they just leave it in the backyard. They
A
throw
dog,
food at it.
period. A dog,
Yeah,
period.
yeah.
Any dog that's that powerful, period. Yeah.
They can still turn into a dangerous animal, and the same with the lace. So I've just spent a lot of time handling them, getting them out. You know, you've seen videos and walk around my house all the time. For very young monitors, they're very well handled.
Right.
And so I just want to keep it that way, so then they can become a safe, good animal, you know, for me later on. You can see the Bell's face.
Oh yeah, I can see the bells stretched out across.
Right up at the glass. Yeah,
such
and
a beautiful species, man. That's
the normal ones on the light cage there. They're both in shot.
Both
there,
out,
so.
running around.
Yeah,
So those are pretty
out.
young. Those are 2022s. Those were hatched this year.
Yeah. They're coming up to being. They're.
Now, what kind of value does that have on it in Australia? What kind of value does a Bell's have? Not like make me throw up all over myself. I mean, does it have a value?
In a store, like in a retail store, if you were paying full retail dollars on a Bell's, you're probably at about $1,200 to $1,500 Australian, which is about $750 US.
Right. Yeah. What are Bell's here?
15 grand or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say that'd probably be $15,000-$20,000.
Yeah. So
I mean, if you know anybody who wants to do any corn snake trades, I can probably stuff like a bunch of fucking containers like this full of corn snakes and stuff them inside of, like, I don't know, fucking Disney characters and ship them over. And,
I'm friends with a breeder in South Australia in another state. The bred the lace, and I did a deal. I got the whole litter, or the whole clutch.
That's
sorry,
905 Royals. You better look out, bro. So when do we start importing? That's what I'm saying. So we're doing it at your house.
I got the whole clutch sent over to here.
Yeah.
And then I picked out what I thought was the best Bells and the best normal, and then the rest went to a friend of mine's store.
That must have been a spectacular assortment then, because your Bells looks pretty incredible. That's a animal.
They were lovely. You know, it was a beautiful clutch, and it was fun having 15 lace monitors for a week.
So Serpwork says, what are Bells? So there's two variations of the lace monitor. There's the standard Varanus varius, right? Isn't it Varanus varius?
That's right.
There's two different Varanus varius looks to themselves, and one is the standard lace monitor look, and the other is the Bell's phase. So you have, I'm going to just pull up a Google image search of these basic ones here, just as a Bing image search. So, but these are all basic ones. These are all, the standard.
There's a few Bells in there as well, actually. But
let's see.
If you click
there you go. There's a Bell's.
That's a Bell.
There's the Bells with the wide banding and stuff on it. God, that's fucking gorgeous, isn't it? Yeah. That thing being a full-grown animal is fucking stunning. And then the regular banded
2.5 meters long.
Looks like a Nile monitor looking lizard with more of the spots with this, spilotus.
That's exactly what my girl looks like. And that one there, you're showing it's got a bit of like a bluish sort of hue.
It is a genetic trait, but I don't know how it's handed off. How does it work? How does the Bell's phase work? Is it a random phase? I mean, Varanus varius, the scientific name denotes that it has a variable ability to be either or. But
the Bell's works like a bit like a recessive mutation, I believe.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. I know it wasn't a dominant thing. I didn't know if it was more or less a recessive mutation, and that's how it worked. But
I think you've got to have, both parents have got to have some Bells in their lineage to make more Bells.
But it is ironic that the scientific name is Varanus varius, referring to its variable coloring nature, and I'd honestly say it's probably next to the Parenti, I'd say it's probably Australian's gem.
Yeah, so
of
it's the
monitor.
second.
I mean, if I lived
it's
where
the
you live, bro, I would
s-
not. I would have this. I would not stop at anything to have a Parenti. If my wife gave me too much lip, I would feed her to my Parentis. I would have so many of these fucking things. I would literally look like a pig farmer of Parentis. I would be fucking
So
insane. I
yeah,
love Parentis so much.
the lace is the second biggest monitor in Australia. So the
Mhm.
largest monitor in Australia is the Parenti.
Right, Varanus giganteus.
Yeah, I got lace.
Actually, here you go. It's fucking Perenni. Is it eating a fucking? Is it eating a Varius? Is that a Varius or is that a
No, I
lace?
reckon that's eating
No?
another Parenti.
Is that another Perenni?
I reckon. Yeah, I reckon it's eating a younger
With those
one.
round ocelli on the back, that are
Round,
round like
yeah,
that.
that's
Yeah,
those
I
are
mean,
Parenti spots.
That's a fucking like beast, son. Fucking beast.
Yeah,
But look at those dudes, Australian reptiles, bro. It gets so insane, you guys. You have no idea the world that you miss when you go down under to reptiles and you only think of carpet pythons and green tree pythons, and you don't think of all of these diplodactylus geckos.
Yeah, well, I went for lace in the state that I live in Victoria. We are not allowed to have Parenti.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
not on license here. But lace monitors are.
Okay.
And
Well, there you go then. That's all good then. I excuse
Yeah.
you because
Yeah.
Perennis are just so fucking awesome, bro.
But the
and
reason I
you wouldn't be
chose
keeping one in a 3-foot cage probably either.
Yeah, the reason I chose lace though, I probably would have chose lace over Parenti anyway, because my daughter spent a day at the Australian Reptile Park as a junior keeper, and I spent some time with the head keeper there on the day, just walking around and checking out all the things and that. And I walked the Komodo dragon in a harness on a lead around the whole park, and the genetically closest animal to a Komodo dragon is the lace.
Is a Lacey. Yeah.
And so basically what I really wanted was a Komodo dragon. So I just bought two slightly smaller versions of a Komodo dragon,
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So that's why I went for lace. I would have gone
Right.
for lace regardless. Wouldn't matter what state I lived in. I just wanted a heavy-bodied, thick, scary-looking lizard that could wear a harness. I could walk it up the dog park, scare people with small dogs, that sort of thing. So.
Oh man, you saw that Instagram reel song where somebody asked me what breed of dog my dog is, and my dog's a good boy or whatever, 100% good boy or whatever it is, and the guy did it for a green tree monitor coming out on his arm, and he was like, my dog's 100% good boy, and it was just cute. I was thinking, oh, it's nice to see reptile people, fucking around with reels like that. But I mean, it's kind of cool that you guys have the ability to keep the stuff that you have, there in Australia. But it's kind of also weird that they do have that sanctioned what you can keep and wear list. And why is that? For protection or for
each state is different. So the states have their own licensing laws. So like in Victoria, blue tongues are not on license. You can have whatever you want. Shut up, Colin. But in New South Wales, where Colin lives, blue tongues are on license. So it's just really, it is weird. So yeah, just different states do it differently. They have a species list, and some things are on license and some things are not. So I don't.
How hard are those licenses to get?
Just pay the $40 or $50.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Like for one permit to keep a bunch of stuff, or per species, or what?
No. So in Victoria, they have a basic license, which is you pay the annual fee, and you can keep everything that's on the basic species list, which includes bearded dragons and lace monitors are on basic.
That's it.
There's hundreds of animals, but like my bearded dragons and my lace monitors are on basic. And then you can pay a little bit extra money and have an advanced license, so you can have venomous, different different things are on advanced. It's
So
got to do with how much care they need.
it's pretty conducive to you though. Like it's pretty easily done. You can do it. It's
Super
not,
easy.
Okay. It's not hard to do. The government hasn't made it problematic for you to do it, you know.
No, you just pay the license. You have to keep a record book. Once a year, you have to send in a copy of your records so you can say how many animals I purchased, how many animals died, how many animals I bred.
You have to keep
So
track
they know
of what
how
was
many-
sold
Yep, you have to keep track of what was sold. Yep.
and to whom.
Yes, if it's a licensed
Okay.
animal, yes. Yep,
If it's
yep.
licensed, okay. So it's
But
basically a firearm.
I only have like 3 or 4 customers because I only wholesale essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that it's really important for us to put that kind of frame on things too in different countries when we're talking to someone like yourself, for the hobbyists out there that aren't familiar, to be able to really truly understand what we go through in our countries to keep stuff. I think Americans are super duper spoiled with the fact that we all have overnight transit everywhere and we have like this huge commerce in this business. I think we definitely are spoiled in the sense that,
well, even shipping here, I've got to take the animal to the airport, drop it off.
Yeah, you have to do airport, airline shipping, and that's it.
Yep,
Airport
that's
to airport. That's it.
That's
You
only
versus in Europe, you have couriers that run vans and stuff around to do that.
We don't have any of that here.
Yeah, it's. I don't.
We don't
honestly,
have the,
I don't
we
think
don't have
anything,
the ship your reptiles type.
Well,
red
sure,
line shipping, none of that. No.
Yeah, well, that's FedEx and UPS. You don't have any of that backbone infrastructure like we do here in America.
No.
America is really the only country abroad of all countries that has a commerce in reptiles like this, that has a really transit fast system like that works for everyone's packaging.
Yeah,
you know?
look, it would be great, but we don't. There are a couple of road freight companies that work up and down the East Coast that will do a reptile for you. It's overnight, you know, but you've still got to drop the animal at the depot and pick it up at the depot. It's not door to door.
Yeah, it's not a door to door thing. No.
Yeah, but I have used the road freight a couple of times from New South Wales to Victoria. They're always pretty good about it, like as in they're normally on like a big semi trailer with like, you know, stuff in the back of the semi, but the drivers will put the reptile in the cab.
With them. Okay, because it's only a pack or two, right?
It's a little
they
plastic
don't really
tub,
care all that much,
you know.
Right?
Yeah,
right.
They're just like, oh, you know, make sure it's got zip ties on it so it can't get out. I don't want no lizard running around the cab, you know. So, but they're pretty good like that. So I've never had a catastrophe, touch wood, with shipping. It's always been pretty good.
Well, look, I mean, you have a house full of animals. You have animals firmly rooted in your daily routine. I mean, they're definitely a huge part of your daily routine. So, I mean, where are you going from here? What is it? Is it just I'm going to keep breeding colored lizards together to keep making more colored lizards? I mean, we're going to keep making real. I mean, obviously, we're going to watch Snoopy and the other one grow up just a sizable lizard.
Yeah, so I want to grow.
What do we want to
I'd
do?
like to keep grow. I'd like to keep growing the social media presence. I really enjoy that. Unfortunately, the social media stuff in Australia is not hasn't been monetized the same as America. But in the next 12 months, Instagram is meant to become monetized for us in Australia.
Okay.
So I'm hoping some of those things happen. So that would be nice to make some income.
Well, you ought to already be well on your way to having your, wheels greased pretty well in that department, though, right?
Well,
with 68.3 thousand followers, you'd think they'd be listening to a motherfucker like you.
Yeah, I had a reel last year do 92 million views, which
Jesus
I think would have been like. If I was getting paid,
what the hell did you do on that? Did Emma get naked on that or something? Fuck.
Oh, we peeled a bearded dragon. Peeled all the shit off.
Peeled a lizard.
Yeah.
Peeled a fucking lizard for 92 million views, bro. Jeez. There are porn stars out there with every hole done up that have not come to half of that many views.
We did get a lot of hate. We did get a lot of hate.
You got a lot of hate for peeling a lizard.
Yeah, the people that own one bearded dragon that think they know more than I know. I just got another like, so it's up to 3
And some of the bullshit people are gonna be like, "Who's this Emma that you keep talking about?" Like, so there you go. This is wearing the snakes and the fat man colors, rightfully so. This is Mrs. Stratford that this guy is so lucky to be wed to, right? His better half for sure. And that's not the reason they got 92 million views. That's not the reason they got 92 million
I
views.
just sent you the reel.
Did you? Okay, I gotta pull it up here.
Look,
I gotta pull it up.
You know,
here we go.
It was a bit
There it is.
controversial.
Okay.
You know.
Boom. There he goes.
Yep, so there was a nose plug, and then there was some shit off its back.
That looks like it feels so fucking good, though, right?
Yeah.
Like but somewhere there's a bearded dragon saying, "What do I have to?"
There's an ear shed there as well.
Right.
So you know, I mean, like that's a grumpy lizard at best times. People are like, "Oh, you can tell it's upset," and all this. I'm like, she's not upset. She's just she hates us anyway. You know.
And that's really not even that hateful of bearded dragon. Have you never seen a hateful bearded dragon before?
Yeah. But you can see down the bottom there.
They do open their mouths and throw out their beards for a fucking reason.
3,591,639 likes.
Fuck, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's 92 million views. But I probably had 1,500 haters, you know, that, you know, I had people making Reddit.
I mean, that's like 1,500 haters is not that bad, bro.
But they were making Reddit pages about me, and they were contacting like you know how you can have a link tree
from this video. From this video, they made Reddit pages about you.
Yep. Saying I was an animal abuser, reported me to my local authorities.
What a fucking laughable bunch of pussies. Oh man, let's laugh at these fucking pussies in the world.
It was crazy.
No clue. Yeah, like peel it like an orange. That's right. Peel it like an orange and squeeze the juice out. That's what I'm saying. At least get something for all that hate mail. At least get some bearded dragon juice from it.
They did give me a hard time. But anyway,
that Creative Coralopus said it. You must have a huge dong to keep Emma around. You know what? I got to say, Creative Coralopus, it's just right. I'm not saying it's huge. I'm not saying it's small. It's just right. I don't know what that means to her or him, but that's enough for me. And that's enough for you too. But yeah, that's something else. That's a hell of a reel.
So I got a lot of attack from that.
Attack me. Fucking roll me in flour, for Christ's sake. That many million views. That's a great thing. Yeah, that's a wonderful, that's a kind of accomplishment. But man, every day with the reels and such creative quality with the reels too. Like we get to watch you make dinner. We get to watch you like show us these different genes, like explain to us what the fuck a hypotranslucent leatherback zero dragon is. And I love your page, bro. You're deserving of every view you have. And this is this Colin guy that I keep seeing on all these. Look at this guy, man. You got to get that shirt back, though, man. I'm telling you.
So me and Colin.
How did you meet him?
We met online.
Oh my God, a match made in online heaven.
And
they met on Tinder of Reptile.
Yeah.
Tinder.
we both love reptiles. We both love videography and photography. You know, he got me excited about that stuff and made me spend a lot of money on cameras and crazy shit so I can make all these reels. We've both got we're both on our second marriages. We've both got blended families of kids. You know, we sort of, you know, he's a few years behind me. You know, he's number 2 and I'm number 1, you know, but
that's right. But, yeah, well, that's it. You're his you're Maverick to his Goose. I get it. I get that.
But you know, look, we just get along great. We talk every day.
Oh, he's such a great guy. You know, I'm actually about to upload his audio version of his podcast to my channel here shortly, guys. But you guys can go back on YouTube and listen to the episode that I did with Colin here. I was trying to get it to load up. I don't know why the hell it's not loading up right now. But yeah.
But yeah, we do a live. We do a live on Instagram.
His fucking shirt, bro. This is fucking awesome powers. This camo shirt with his logo on it, with the gamer lights behind him and shit. Oh, it was great. It was great. It was amazing. It was look, there's my face. Look, I paused on my horrible face. I paused on his horrible face. Fuck, I'm terrible at this.
We do a live together once a week or once a fortnight on Instagram. It's not at a set time, but I do advertise it. Sometimes it's just me and him talking shit. Sometimes we have a guest. I think we're up to about I can't remember now. Maybe we've done 15 or 16 of them so far.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I'm about to tune in for that because you guys are
and
both a hell of a lot of fun.
They're just something different. They're a bit of fun.
Mhm.
Hey, Brie.
Brie.
Yeah, so they're cool. And we just do that for a bit of fun. And yeah, so we just met online and we just struck up a friendship. And he's been and visited me here. Came and did some filming here last year of my animals. And so, yeah, we just
the overall awareness you both bring for the species and stuff you fuck with and the things that you do is great. I mean, it's wonderful for the hobby and it's definitely opening up people's eyes in social media and stuff. So keep doing it. I mean, I think it's great.
Yeah, he's been around in the reptile hobby for a lot longer than me.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
yeah, especially from the local wild ecology side of things, you know, because he does a lot of trapping, a lot of catching, a lot of removals and relocations and stuff. And it was really fascinating.
He's sort of been a bit of a mentor for me with how to do certain things. Like I've been more successful this season breeding blue tongues than ever before. And me and him had a talk earlier in the year, and we just put some really strict rules. Like he was like, you must turn the temperature off at this time. You must turn it on at this time. I would
like to get with you and hear what your recommendation is for me on North American climate on that, because I would like to do something with these animals I have now, because they're older now. And there's no reason that they shouldn't produce at this point, you know, if it isn't be a male.
Well, you know, like it was just like, this is how long you need to brumate them for. Once they come out of brumation, do not put them together until I used to like, as soon as the male looked like he was active, I'd put them together.
You put them together.
Colin was like, no, the male must shed. If the male hasn't shed, he hasn't dropped his plugs. They've got to, it's got to be shed. I'll put it and then put them together. So Colin just helped me sort of set up some rules, and like, it was funny. I set the rules up.
Not Mike's heading out. Yeah. Good night, Mike. Good having you for a little bit of time. Go back and catch the beginning where you can learn something about a monitor.
But it was funny. I set a couple of these rules with Colin, and then I actually went to break one of the rules. I'm like, oh, this male looks like he's up and about, Emma. I'm going to put him together. Emma's like, you and Colin made some rules. Don't fucking do that. Like,
stick by him and see if it works.
Stick to it. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, okay. I'll
like to see you two knuckle fucks write a book on breeding Taliqua, man. That would be killer. I would love to see a whole Taliqua book written by some motherfuckers on the ground down there. You know, I mean, don't leave it up to a Nick Mutton and Justin Julander of North America to write a book on Australian pythons and Australian stuff. But you know, at the same time, I mean, please, by all means, you know, that was originally one of my fascinating things by having you on the show was when I said to Chris on my first episode with Chris, wouldn't it be great to have an Australian breeder come and talk about Australian species? You remember what Chris said? Nobody wants to fucking hear that shit. that's
right. That's right. I do remember. Yes. Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear that shit. Nobody wants to hear
that shit. No one wants to hear that on his channel. But, you know, it's
not on your channel. Not on, like, again, let's call it boob tube. So he gets all offended that he thinks I'm only calling it boob tube. Like, get on boob tube and watch that shit on boob tube. I'm seriously I'm going to let Chris chase the hardcore lifestyle of reptile people. And I'm going to just chase the absolute geeky motherfuckers that did it for a long time. And that's it. I don't care. Like, he could have his lane and I'll have mine and we'll both work well together. I watch all the channels,
right? Like, I watch you. I watch
If we can all have a good, solid strength that outweighs our weakness, I think we are absolutely on point. I think anybody in this space that has energy, that has positivity, even if you have a little negativity, I think like getting away from negativity completely, let's be honest, bro. First of all, it's not possible, especially not in an honest world. Like, if we're going to have an honest world, Luke, there's going to be times when I'm going to call you or Colin on a show and I'm going to say, would you please let me fucking have it? Would you please give it to me? Give it to me to negative. Tell me what's going on, what's wrong, what can we change, what can be, you know, but as long as our positivity outweighs our negativity in that way, that we're making moves forwards more so than backwards, I'm all for it. You know, I was really shocked to see some of the cancel culture and the way it is today. I did not really I would not normally have thought that people would be like, fuck it, let's get them, you know, like they have been. And I don't mean in reptiles. I mean, in all to get everything from the Me
Well,
Too
we've had
movement, Hollywood.
We've had a fair bit of that in the reptiles in the last 2 weeks.
We have had it, but I don't want to focus on it because it's not really focus worthy on reptiles, in my opinion, when it's going on everywhere around us too. It's almost like it's a thing in society more than it's a thing just within ourselves, right?
100%. Yeah,
and
but the cancel culture is bullshit. You know, all the different podcasts are different, and they're different for a reason. They suit different people. I enjoy all of them for different stuff. I watch.
Yeah,
Chris's
I see you everywhere.
laugh.
I see you all over. I'm not going to call I'm never ever going to use the term podcast whore to describe any of you, except
that's
maybe
Will.
Maybe
Will.
Will. I think everybody puts Will Salahid in the fucking firmly in the podcast whoring category. But honestly, bro, I'm the only one that I could see him helping with the automobile issue he helped me with. So in my opinion, I deserve you, Will, and you deserve me. And therefore, if you're a whore, then we work for the same pimp, and that's just the way it goes. We jerk the same circle.
I like all the shows for different reasons.
Sure.
And I still tune into all of them, even the ones that are copping hate at the moment. I still tune into them all.
Well, Chris and I have had our moments too, but the fact that you were so eager to do this show with me too just goes to show you that it's definitely for the public, for the love of the animals and the love of the trade of things, that you're willing to do a show like this. And thank you for doing it. Like that.
And look, the thing about Australia, I guess, is that you don't go into it like me and Colin have because you want to make a fortune, right? Like,
no, you're definitely got that altruism about yourself being where you're from.
We have to enjoy them. Yeah.
Well, and ultimately, I hope you understand that's kind of why I started this episode with a question like I did. Like, where is the finances in this for you? Because therefore, when I did fly the banner that, you hear a lot of references to finances, expenses, profit margins, and other business terminologies, while this may leave the impression that we care more about money than we do animals, is far from the truth. Animals are all we care about. And it's the reason why we do it is because they're so fucking expensive. It's so fucking expensive to do this. You have to do it with some air of business or profit, or at least break even in mind.
Yeah, so I'm about 4 years in.
That was my question, was where are you?
We're in front now.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
To be in front. So
but
let's take this
4 years. And I'm not in front like I'm making an income. I'm in front like I sold enough bearded dragons this year that it will pay my power bill for the 12 months coming up. And
you know what? That's amazing for a business in a country that more or less doesn't have one. Right? Because you have one, you have people keeping Australian reptiles that are buying them from Australian reptile breeders, but it's not a huge amount of them. It's not like millions of them.
And we needed a bit of cash. We needed a bit of cash for the deposit to build the next house.
Sure.
And this season's production has helped us come up with enough.
I think that's tremendous. I never thought I would talk to an Australian reptile breeder that could make enough positive production in bearded dragons and blue tongue skinks to actually say that they were even remotely carbon neutral, much less carbon positive in their building process, in their finances and stuff. I would think that if you're in a country like America, Canada, Europe, fuck it, South Africa, right? Like, let's talk about South Africa for a second, because I did talk about it the other day when I mentioned this magazine, this Ultimate Exotics magazine, that South Africa has had a trade that's been magazine worthy for 20 fucking years. And a lot of people don't realize that that's actually true. And on the 28th, 27th, 28th, it'll be Friday night for us, Friday night at 9:00, Saturday for him at I don't remember, 4 or 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning. I will have DJ, who is a breeder from South Africa, a ball python breeder from South Africa, on the Ballsh podcast in a couple of weeks. So that'll be fun, because I'm really looking forward to talking to him about the economy that they've had there for so long.
We're probably building, the house we're building is probably 50% larger than the house we could have afforded without the reptiles.
That's fucking incredible, right?
Yep.
And the space that you're putting in for the reptiles will allow you to be stronger, better productive, right? More productive, more cost effective for your production, right?
More holdbacks.
More holdbacks, right? And then more holdbacks, ultimately meaning that you get to dominate. Yeah, and that's right. Reptile for Centuries. That's him. DJ Reptiles for Centuries. That is who will be on Reptiles for Centuries. And he will be on the show here in a couple of weeks. So and then this Friday we have Jake Milbrandt and Anthony Caponetto, who own a ball python operation together. So we've already heard from Anthony Caponetto from AC Reptiles.
Caponetto's name I'm familiar with, but the other gentleman I haven't heard of yet.
The other guy, Jake, has been a ball python guy for a while and has been Anthony's friend and been more or less alongside of him while he's done the gecko thing and has done the buckets. I mean, let's face it, Anthony's gecko operation is well outside the scope of someone that can keep a ball python operation also. You know, I mean, I think we talked about, did you listen to the show with Anthony?
Yeah.
What did he say? He has 2,000 colonies of 5 geckos or something like that. So that's 10,000 breeder geckos to keep up with. So that's going to be, you know, that's a gargantuan effort for one person to do. And yeah, so I agree with 121 Mutations. DJ is, he's definitely got a good, some fire in South Africa, enough to have been a dealer selling some really high-end snakes down in South Africa, because, you know, there's a few guys down there that I've talked to for very many years. And when they tell me that I got to talk to this kid that's been buying ball pythons, like Justin Kabilka comes twice, I got to talk about it. You know, we got to hear about it. So,
yeah, well, I mean,
you know,
it's the great thing about, the internet, you know, is that, like, you know, I've been able to connect with people like all over the world with reptiles, you know, like, you know, I've got Mike's monitors sticker up there. I've got Shane.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I saw your stickers when we were talking pre-show. I saw the Small Town Exotic stickers, the Mike's monitor stickers.
Yeah. So it's, you know, I've got so many, great friends, you know, in America and in all sorts of other countries. I'm friends with a guy in Denmark who, does blue tongues, and you know, I know people in South Africa.
But you got probably a lot of people here too hit you up all the time for things
all the
like
time.
that too.
Yeah, and it's lots of fun, you know. I do really enjoy, you know,
and it's been bringing us closer
and
together for that long, though. You know, I mean, when you listen to the Graham Battison episode that he and I did, we talk about the years behind us talking to people on the internet. Look, just in fact, the other night after you and I were talking, middle of the night, middle of the day for you, middle of the night for me, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Somebody hit me up and I opened a group chat with 2 of the chatters that I started the kingsnake.com chat room with in 1997, Brian Go and Jeff Leverett. And we're trying to get like this group together because I would love to have a podcast panel one night with just like as many people as I could. Maybe if it's just a few of us, to where we can talk about learning from each other in the fast-paced chat room, a lot like what you guys have on the side of this chat bar, one of those old MIRC chats from back in the 90s day, where we were just learning from each other and rolling through that chat. And names like Frank Reedus from, you know, Goanna Ranch, and who you laughing at, what you see?
Oh, someone said Shane's sticker's covering half of Chris's sticker.
Yeah, well, you know, it is the red on the red. It's fine. It works.
Yeah.
It works for me. Hey, look,
Yeah.
he's a sponsor. It's fine. He's a sponsor. He's a crossover sponsor. To be honest with you, if you want to peel up side of Shane's sticker there and shove a little bullshit sticker, I'll send you right in the gap or rather in the crack.
There's room here.
You could make me both of their bitches. You could put me under both of them motherfuckers. But yeah, MIRC. Yeah, I'm showing my age, bro. I said King Snake chat in 1997 for fuck's sake. Yeah, it'd be a reunion show from hell. It'd be a reunion because, well, all of us were young. We were all in our teens and 20s. I really
enjoyed Chris's show where he did a thing with
with Donato and
eyeballs,
and,
the eyeballs,
and
guys,
eyeballs.
you know?
Yeah, they did the eyeballs reunion. Yeah, Donato and Danny.
And I'm not
but really
from
like
that
you experience Chris, and then you experience Chris with Danny and Donato, and the three of them are so good, like so together as a group of old friends, that just experiencing Chris without the two of them is a completely different Chris, in my opinion. Not any less of a Chris,
I love that show. I
but
thought
definitely
it was great,
they're a great group.
Well,
I think Ball Pythons probably lost a little bit when they lost that group.
well, that is, your introduction back into it with you and Chris together. I really enjoyed that as well.
Yeah, we played well together. We shut that restaurant down that night in Daytona.
I like all the old time stuff, even though I wasn't around at the time, or certainly wasn't involved in American stuff at the time, like I am connected now through the internet. I really enjoy hearing those old stories.
Right.
I find those episodes with the older school guys. I mean, you had the guy on that breeds all the bugs.
Todd Goodman.
That's great. Like, just hearing like some of the crazy stuff that has gone on over such a long period of time.
600,000 square feet of insect, bro. Can you fucking fathom the fucking space? You guys in the chat room, your average super Walmart is 125,000 square feet. He has 600,000 square feet of stinky ass fucking bugs making millions of fucking grubby ass dollars. That's when you say grubby ass money. That's some grubby ass money. That's grubby ass money. That's real grubby ass money right there.
I enjoy
money
that
from
sort of
grubs.
stuff.
Fascinating guy, and how humble he is, and how much he's done for USARK. I tell you, dude, like however many hundreds of times that's been downloaded.
I've got a USARK sticker up here.
It's up
just
there.
Above. Yeah,
that's fine. I got it on the roof. I'm
a USARK member. I'm a bronze member.
That's wonderful. Thank you for being that. Thank you. You benefit none. We benefit from you. Thank you very much for supporting what you do.
I think we do benefit. I've talked this about on other podcasts as well. But
let me have.
People think, oh, you can't. It's why would you do that? It's so stupid, right? Like the analogy that I think of is, if your neighbor's house is on fire, do you stand in the front yard and watch their house on fire and just don't do anything about it? Or do you get a hose out and try and help so the fire doesn't spread to your house?
You at least drink a beer and open your fly, right? You at least drink a beer and open your fly. At very least, you could at least piss on it, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I think you're absolutely right about that. I think that whenever you see someone like you producing content like you're doing, not benefiting necessarily firsthand from USARK, but benefiting, like, dude, if we see USARK on your channel and people are like, wait a minute, USARK, is this guy in Australia? And then they go and they look into it, they see it, and they see that brand affiliation.
A lot of Western countries, governments like Australia and America and Canada and all that, they follow each other's trends, So the Australian government, looks at the American government and goes, oh, they've started doing this. Maybe we should be thinking about that. And so if I don't, contribute to USARK, and then, some crazy laws come in America, and then the Australian government goes, oh, that's a fucking great idea. Let's fucking do that here as well. And then I'm stuffed, So I just think you can't just worry about your own backyard. You've got to, help each other across.
It's a shame y'all couldn't keep Steve from going in the ocean, bro. We could have done a whole lot more with him alive still, Like if Animal Planet hadn't have turned a network that was built for an Australian reptile geek into a network that was built to kill reptiles for naked people to survive in the wild. If I ever meet a person that was on Naked and Afraid, I'm going to heat up something metal and I'm going to burn them somewhere underneath their pants. I'm going to do it. I don't know why. I just want to do it. I'd probably get me sidelined on YouTube for saying it. I want to burn you with a hot poker if you've been on Naked and Afraid and you've stoned a fucking defenseless reptile in the name of naked survival.
Yeah, losing Steve is it definitely a blow to the
to the entire internet world, to the entire world of reptiles, to the entire world of free thinking people, to the entire world of ecology and anything that was holy, fuck. I don't like stingrays. I mean, stingrays are like my least favorite animal at this point, just because I think I look and I think man, if this man was still on TV, man, if this man was still this ambassador to reptiles, which granted the whole holding the kid during the fucking croc thing wasn't cool and all that. Like he did some uncool, right? And I mean, you really feel that things that would be even less receptive to receive today, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, like imagine that today would be like, oh, that would be canceled like a motherfucker. Animal Planet would be off the air. They would take Animal Planet down in lieu of like more murder shows and investigation discovery. But
more people like him maybe would have slowed, this cancel culture and the way that the world has become, that might not have happened so quickly or so rapidly with people like him being at the front,
You hear about the Everglades python problem in Australia? Like,
yes.
People talk about it there. Like, motherfuckers, please. Like, I wish we could get their ears.
I watch a lot of internet. Like,
you watch a lot of internet, right?
I probably watch more American reptile content than people who live in America with bearded dragons. I love all that shit.
All right, that's
I'm not normal.
Comparison.
My wife.
That's a fair comparison. You're not a
normal.
My
wife would never fucking
American.
clue.
You're not a
Emma
normal
wouldn't have a
Australian
clue,
citizen.
Emma
wouldn't.
Normal Australian wouldn't know what the fuck. Normal Australian wouldn't know what the Everglades were.
Well, that's the thing. I don't know though, because like wherever I go in America, though, I don't necessarily. I could go to the store and be like, oh, what do you do for a living? Oh, I work at a bank. Oh, what do you do for a living? Oh, I raise exotic reptiles. Oh, yeah, like the ones they have loose in the Everglades everywhere. I mean, I'm not kidding. Like, this is really something that would happen. Like, my doctor, like, well, what is this on your? What is this spot on your head? What do you do for a living? Oh, I raise reptiles. Oh, they have those Everglades problems, And I'm like, yeah, thanks a lot for telling me, boss. I appreciate that. I appreciate you listening to the fucking news. I wonder if it is that global ecology, that scare that's going on here in America now, that it seems that definitely the liberal public is using it as a fear tactic. And the politics, thank you, PCF, for, the politics of it. Really suck. What's it like there? Anything like that? Anything rogue, big, scary animals, people keeping pets they shouldn't, nobody ever getting caught with like a fucking Komodo dragon that they smuggled over?
No,
or anything?
No, I mean, we loved watching Tiger King, but I mean, that's really that sort of behavior.
That's Texans, bro. That's fucking Texans for you, dude. That's Texans for you. My buddy Bart raises rodents in Texas, and he does the herp shows. And his very last herp show that he was vending at was the Slidell, Louisiana one that was in December, right near me. And you know what he had at his table, bro? He had rats galore, snakes and lizards and stuff galore. He had an umbrella cockatoo for adoption, and he was bottle feeding 2 servals, African serval cats. Right. Yeah, and I'm like, bro, look, you might not want to let Wood Fish and Wildlife see the servals. Well, why not? I brought them with me because they have to be fed like every few hours, and I can't leave them at home. And I'm like, yeah, bro, but you still cross the state line with an exotic fucking cat that can't be kept in Louisiana. I'm just saying, you might not want the agents walking around the building to see the adorable little pocket-sized wild cats that you have sitting behind your table. And one of my friends came by and she said, are those servals? And I said, yeah, they are. And they were like, in Louisiana? And I was like, he's from Texas. And you know what she said? Oh, that explains a lot. And she walked off, because in Texas, that's them. That's Tiger King. That's in Texas. It's Texas and Floridians that keep that shit. Secret. Yeah. Go to Texas, go to Florida. It's where all the men with very large balls and very small dicks live. I don't know.
There is some exotic stuff in Australia, but because it's illegal, it's pretty underground,
It's pretty underground. Well, you got to be Pablo Escobar to literally have it.
Yeah, and you don't advertise it, And people with large collections of animals that are on license, like me, like I'm not going to have a chameleon here, so they come raid my house and I lose everything, Right. But the person who's got chameleons only has chameleons and hides them. Sure. That's how it's told to me, but I've never even seen that
Well,
stuff.
and
But
honestly,
I know
do
it's
you really
about.
want to be, right? Like, you don't want to be connected to it either, because then it puts more eyes on you doing what you're doing, because you're trying to do a good, wholesome thing, or you're legally trying to
Yeah,
stay
I
within the
just I can't get.
lines.
You know,
Right.
look, hey, I'd love a tortoise.
Hey, you guys, look, if I ever get into freshwater fish, you worry. You worry a lot. Because
But yeah,
there's a room in here with a lock on it that you're not allowed to go into, and there are no fish in that room. There are definitely fish in that room. There are no fish in that room. There are definitely fish in that room. Is there a room there? There is definitely not a room there. There used to be a room there, but it was condemned years ago. We had to close it off. It's no longer, and you can't enter it anymore. You know, I don't know. Like, I get in those moments where I'm like, oh, I can get that from you. Oh yeah, I don't need to know you. I'd rather not know you, because I'll just be like, hey, you want a ball python and trade for that fucking cool fish? That'll get me like a jail sentence.
I've heard there's ball pythons here as well. Obviously, you know.
Oh, of course. I mean, and at that point, it's almost like this gets to be kind of funny, because that's where you know where the money is. You know the money's there.
I'm pretty sure on a call out, like on a snake call out, I'm pretty sure like Collins found a corn snake. You know, you know. So I think that
has trade there been legal though before, like many years ago.
I don't know. I think no.
I don't think so either.
No,
someone told me that the bearded dragons first came in before there was any real legislation or something, but I would really love to know.
I think they got out also zoo trade, you know.
I mean, listen, I'm not going to lie to you. Talking to Casey Lazick the other night, we talked for like 2.5 hours that Friday night, and the things he shared with me, a few times he was like, Sean, you promised me you're not recording this, right? And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not. We're just talking. But the chat we had about the first blackheads coming in and where they showed up, the first Walma pythons, where they showed up, the diamonds, the jungle carpets, and things, like the people that had them, the people that were involved in the random shipping of things. It could be like, yeah, this guy used to bring in shoe polish and he had a pair of, and you're like, what the fuck? Because why? Because I don't know. He was getting a box of something from Australia and they just stuffed him in there with them,
Yeah.
And really, it was it was fascinating to hear him talk about.
I think it all got out. It all got smuggled.
It's all smuggled. That's what I told Casey. I was like, if you're worried about coming on and you're talking about smuggling shit, you're talking about smuggled Australia was never endangered. That would never even be punishable by law. Now you could sit in court and say, yes, officer, I smuggled it in my ass across the board, and they can't do anything to you. You'd be like the lighter story on Pulp Fiction, right? I went.
Well, I mean,
the watch from Pulp Fiction. I shove this
from where I sit. Tom Crutchfield is adored by the whole community,
and one of the top smugglers there ever was.
Self-proclaimed. He's not even he's not hiding it,
he's not hiding it. He smuggled a lot of endangered shit that was actually punishable by law.
And he's adored by the community. So I don't think anyone's going to jump on you for doing it now.
No,
what's done is done.
Well, I can tell you what Casey's point of view is, bro. Casey's got kids that have been raised in the private school system and went to college and have like good, wholesome backgrounds and shit. And their families is built on the backbone of his success, either both in the stock market and breeding incredibly rare Australian reptiles. I mean, he had all of the knobtail gecko mutations in the beginning. He had all of the pythons in the beginning. He was who we all dealt with. If you were in North America, you were dealing with a very few small group of people for Australian reptiles, and Casey was at the top of that list. So, I really hope he'll come on this show, bro, and do something soon. Because it'd be interesting to show you that perspective of it, right? Like, because Luke doesn't know the way Australian illegal shit went back in the 30 years ago or whatever that it all started happening. I think that'd be an interesting to focus on too.
Yeah, look, there are rumors that swirl around Australia, and look, I know of people that are in our hobby that have been convicted of smuggling and then got out of the hobby and back in the hobby and so on. But
actually, one of the smugglers I'm going to have on the show, Jeff Doth, it got busted in Australia. Actually, coming from Australia twice. I think both of his busts were coming out of Australia into America. When I talked to him at the Reptile show last month, he was like, bro, the fucked up thing is the last time I got busted coming into LAX with 2 green tree pythons in my fucking pockets, bro. And I was like, yeah. And he said, yeah. And the woman asked me, yeah, you got caught bringing in. And he's like, well, you guys should have caught me 3 weeks ago. I came in with 6 lorikeets, 4 shingleback skinks, and he listed. And he was just like, you'd have fucking got me. He said that 1 week I came in with fucking 2 green trees, and that was it.
It must have got harder after 9/11 too. You know what I mean? Pre 9/11, 9/11, you could have done anything.
You could have done anything. And I tell people that's how we did it. I mean, we talk about it on the podcast. I've said it before. I would drive to the show with an extra duffel bag empty in my luggage, and my boss would fly me home with the reptiles from the show. And all I would do is like take the empty duffel bag out of my suitcase, put all the deli cups in it, carry it on the plane, and just put it on the x-ray thing. And with all the animals in it, just put it on the x-ray thing and just carry it and just shove it under the seat in front of me. And then people would be like on the plane, what's in there? I'm like, oh, a bunch of snakes and lizards and stuff. Are you fucking serious? Yeah. You want to see them? And I'd I'd fucking like mid-flight, I'd take the bag out and like open it up and show them, in the deli cups and stuff. I mean, but Luke, it was fascinating too, because we were buying for a pet shop. So I had poison dart frogs and day geckos and like things that fascinate people, right? Like you can open up a box and show somebody a cool ball python, like a pied or something, and they're like, ooh, wow, that's really cool. But you pull out some like brilliantly colored dart frogs next to some brilliant green gecko, and then like satanic leaf tails. I remember I had those Fantasticus, Europletus Fantasticus. I had some of those in one of those bags once, and this guy was like, whoa, that's like a mantis, like a walking stick, but it's a lizard instead. And then all the fucking flight attendants are like, oh, that's so cool. And then 9/11 happened, and it was like, fuck it. Can't do none of that shit no more.
What was the name of the guy? I watched a documentary on the other day. The guy that hijacked the plane, got the money, and then DB Cooper.
DB Cooper.
So he hijacked the plane and then got given the money and then jumped out of the plane, with the money. And like that just all that sort of stuff. Like it just once 9/11 happened, the airline industry changed to where none of that stuff's happening now. You can't. Yeah. You can't take an open bottle of water on a plane now.
After 9/11, we had to be site inspected to ship air cargo. We had to wait. We had to put all of our shipments on hold for like 3 or 4 months so that we could become what was called a known shipper with the FAA. And I explained that here too, where the guy from Delta had to come inspect, and he had to drive 45 minutes to come to my building, and he just didn't for fucking months. And I'm like, he finally showed up one Saturday, and I'm like, this is a weird day if you just show up a fucking Saturday. And he said, yeah, my wife and I just decided I never come over here. So I just waited until I had a few of these site inspections to do. Fuck, I think Tim Bailey got his done the same time as me, or somebody else did over here the same time as me. And I remember thinking, what the fuck, man? The guy just didn't even feel like coming over and doing the due diligence because he just didn't want to do it. And we were all just hindered. But before 9/11, you were just able to fucking do whatever the fuck. I mean, I think really when I think back on the airport security pre 9/11 in America, I think they were just there for posthumous, just like fucking prophylactic safety. Just for you to feel safe because they're standing there. Like they're not really there for a reason.
It's funny. There's been a few things, during my life that, the world changes, like pre and post 9/11, pre and post COVID, that things are different. Things change with some of those significant events. And
every time shipping went up. That's the only true fact. Every single time shipping went up. Taxes went up. Taxes went down. Shipping all the way up, motherfucker. All the way up. Every time. Shipping never said, we've had a really good couple of years now. We should give those fuckers a break. No, shippers are like, fuck you, bro. Remember that fuel surcharge you got after 9/11? That fuel surcharge was there. Yeah, but what now they have? A fuel surcharge. It's written under fuel surcharge? PPE. Personal protective equipment charges, and that's what they've added now. So you got a fuel surcharge from fucking what you call it, and you got PPE from COVID.
Yeah.
So there you go. You got a fuel surcharge from 9/11 and fucking PPE charge for
And it'll
COVID.
stay forever.
Yeah, it'll stay forever. Forever.
They
Forever.
They don't wind any of that. They never wind the increases back.
No, and it won't happen. But so I see you feeding like all of these great foods to your lizards and stuff like that. I see you promoting. Before we hang up, I want you to mention a couple of the great products in Australia that you use, because I know you do use a food product from there that you help promote a lot. There it is. Let's talk about these products here that you have.
So this is Fuzzy Fox.
Fuzzy Fox.
Yeah, it's essentially a similar product to Repashy, which you'd be used to over there. It's a gel-based food, so it's a powder that we make into a gel mix. They're also doing.
Is that what I see you feeding? Is green like these?
Yeah,
these like green globs of whatever.
Looks a bit like hash.
Yeah, I was gonna say I fucking love hash, but but yeah, we don't have
so I've had a few people
it's
say,
like very wet hash. If you gave me that, I would be like, that's not hash. But yeah, all right, I get you. But
Fuzzy Fox is the brand. A friend of mine in Collins. That's it there. Yep, that's some of it there, and that's actually the Fuzzy Fox dry pellets as well.
Okay.
So they're now doing like a dry, like a dry pellet food as well. So we've got both. They make an omnivore mix, they make a carnivore mix, they make an insectivore mix. So for the different animals, they support my channel and they support Colin as well. It's a friend of mine in Collins who makes this product. He's the same guy that owns and runs the Reptile Classifieds page.
Okay.
So fantastic guy. He's put a lot of time and effort and money into making the products.
I noticed that you were talking a pretty good bit about his R&D and everything. The fact that the products were really clean, they worked really well, and that they were giving your animals some really good nutrition, color, breeding results, and everything were really strong.
Yep, they're fantastic, and we trial the products. And if we give him feedback, he makes changes. He's not like, I know better than you. He works collaboratively with the community. So he's a great friend of mine. If anyone wants to try it, they ship worldwide.
I was going to ask you what his distribution was looking like elsewhere. Is he looking to try to bring it to America?
Ships worldwide, and use promo code Lizard Morphs for 10% off.
Okay, there you go. There you go. Shameless plugs. Love them.
Get amongst it. So now that so I use that a lot. I use fresh fruit, vegetables, insects, fresh meat. I use dog food, and I use Fuzzy Fox. I use a mixture of it all. But Fuzzy Fox, the gel food, is sort of like the staple, and then I add the other things on top to help.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So here with the ectotherm lizard food. Who made that? What was that?
That's Vetafarm. That's another Australian company. They gave me some stuff so I could do a competition.
Do some tests
some of their
and
product
stuff.
Away. Yeah.
So, it's good to see you guys having these diets and stuff that are being built to cater to these types,
Yeah. Yep.
And there you go, feeding the bearded dragons too.
That's
as
Fuzzy.
Well, huh?
That's Fuzzy Fox. Yeah, that's
and they
Emma.
take it right off of tongs like that, huh?
Yeah, they love it.
Incredible.
Yep. That's the gel. That's the insectivore Fuzzy Fox.
Yeah, man. I mean, to feed a bearded dragon that way seems really effective. Look how fat they are and stuff too. I mean, the body size and everything on them.
That's breeding season. So those girls are all gravid.
Yeah, full of eggs and stuff. But
full
still,
of eggs. So we give them a lot.
Yeah, but still, you see that the incredible health of these animals. Yeah, zero jumps over the food.
But they love it.
That's spectacular, though.
Yeah.
To have a food product like that and have the animals respond to it that strongly, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, they really like it, so it's good.
Good deal.
I haven't. Wow. There is a what is it? Carnivore mix for the monitors. I've even had the monitors eat it. The Gillens will eat it. I haven't had the lace monitors eat it. The lace. And
that'll be interesting to see how you can maintain something like that. I would like to see that. especially if you were able to get the gill and eye productive over something like that.
The gill and eye are so active, and it's so much fun to watch them chase the bugs.
Well, yeah, but the fact
I'm
is,
not going to
that
feed them only the. I'm not going to feed them only the gel food. I have to feed them bugs because it's fun.
you have to feed them bugs because you have to, but you have to enrich their life and like that anyway.
Yeah,
They need it.
yeah.
They have to have that level of activity. But I'm wondering if the extra by the other food doesn't give you the gut packing productivity packing. Does that make sense? Because like there's this line where you have to feed monitors X amount of stuff just to be able to get product out of them. It would seem like a product like this might make it easier to get to that baseline of nutrition.
Yeah, and we keep some colonies of bugs here, but we mostly are purchasing insects and then topping them up and feeding them off here.
You know, I'd love for Mike's monitors to get something like that from your boy and try feeding some of those bigger monitors.
Yeah,
shit,
well,
and see if it gives them more, I don't know, more of a broad range, than what they're getting from what they're eating, even though he's feeding them very well.
Yeah, but we've had great results with it so far, so we really like it.
What I want you to do is I'm definitely want you to send me some links to the stuff so I can put the link in the description of your episode, because I do feel at some point someone from Australia will stumble upon this episode and watch it and possibly want to access this, or in neighboring countries, or here, like you said, if he's actually distributing it here to America.
Now he ships it worldwide, so you can get it shipped worldwide,
and you can either buy it for your collection directly from him, or if he's looking for United States distributors, that might not be a bad idea to look into doing something.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but yeah, you could definitely, but he's
very cool, man. Very cool. And so you Lizard Morphs Instagram, you have a link. I'm on
Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. I'm really just.
I think I had the link. Right, I have the link tree in the description for Luke and Emma. That's probably your very best source of information on them.
Yeah,
and there also is a link there to the Fuzzy Fox food with the promo code as well.
Use the promo code. That's
here
right.
You go, guys. So this is here's over on your link tree right here. So
so it's got it's got all the podcasts.
It's got all your podcasts. Got your Snakes and the Fat Man episodes. It's got your MJ, you and M on MJ, Reptile Gumbo. Yeah, like I said, you've been on all these, and it's also got your YouTube channel and stuff like that linked.
Yeah, and I'll obviously put this episode there as well. Yeah. If you go to the Fuzzy Fox link there on my link tree, the link tree's on Instagram, in my bio, and then you can go to Fuzzy Fox directly from there and use the code and get 10% off and try it out. But it's a great product. Yeah.
Awesome.
The best place to contact me, if anyone wants to contact me and ask questions or talk to me, is definitely Instagram. That's where I'm most active. I put a reel up every day.
Very responsive responds to all of your comments and everything. So,
I reply to every comment on every reel because it helps my algorithm,
Right. That's the only reason why.
Even if you bag me, if you get on there and say I'm an animal abusing, skin peeling asshole, I will reply and say, thank you for watching. Please keep commenting and helping my algorithm.
I'm very positive about my comments too.
I've
had to educate a couple of fucking morons that posted stupid shit, but I didn't really educate them in like Mr. T fashion. I didn't like pity the fool or anything. I just, I just gave it to them very politely and nicely. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you for your feedback, sir. Thank you for your feedback.
I say, thank you for watching and thank you for your opinion. And then they say, it's not an opinion, it's fact. And I say, well, helping a bearded dragon shed has never killed one of mine. So,
indeed.
Your fact isn't relevant here. So,
and I mean, there's always going to be someone in a group. And to be honest with you, bro, if you only got 1,500 hates from 3.5 million, then that's pretty fucking good. Right? It's pretty fucking good. Though.
It felt
1,500. Like 1,500 people hating on you is a lot of people hating on you. There's no doubt. There is no doubt.
It felt bad. Like I know at the moment there's a lot of hate to MJ at the moment, for example,
And a lot of hate to me too. You know, I mean, I'm getting a little
sure,
bit of end of it as
yeah,
well, right?
because everyone's picking sides and attacking each other. It's all this bullshit. You know, I'm looking.
Well,
forward
there's
to
all those
watching.
people that think that if I would have done that I should have done that show. And the sad thing is what really ultimately probably happened was the best of all things probably happened. I didn't do it. He didn't get embarrassed by me doing it. All these things didn't happen. Like, we should all be thankful the way things worked out and move on with our life. But I do understand what you're saying. When you have
all
something,
the attacking, it
does hurt.
And so when I got a lot of hate for that video, I found it quite mentally challenging and tough. And so when I look at the current stuff that's going on with everyone attacking each other and like the bit of the pile on, you know, because look, I think that yourself, for example, were right to be upset with what happened. Shane was right to be upset with what happened. You know, people are happy. People are right to be upset with each other about certain things. The problem is it's that all of the followers of those people that then take it to a different place. They're like, instead of them having a personal problem, they're just like, I just want to jump on the
Bro, it's a bandwagon, right? It's a bandwagon, right? Like, so I'm not going to mention names, but somebody super chatted on one of those episodes and they super chatted about me. And I was like, dude, first of all, I never did you wrong in 30 fucking years. Second of all, what did I ever do that warranted you to pay to super chat a negative thing about me, bro? What would and you know what he said? It was in the heat of the moment. I'm really sorry. I really shouldn't have done that. I really look like an asshole for doing that, huh? And I'm like, I don't think you're an asshole for doing it. I think other people were like, what's up with him doing that? I think those people think you were an asshole for doing it. But whatever, bro. I mean, it is what it is. Like, jump on the bandwagon, but dude, be just as quick to jump off that bandwagon when you realize that's what you're doing.
Well, I know MJ had a guest on recently, Ray from Luring Serpents. And he just had a really good perspective about, you know, haters and retaliators. And, you know, look, everyone has the right to retaliate to bad behavior. And I think that's what you did. I think that's what Sean did and so on. I think that's, and you guys are absolutely within your right. And I agree with what you did. Yeah. It's the problem is it's the follow-up haters that I think
honestly, the only thing I did to settle with my little things Luke, was just to tap on a few of them's shoulder and say, did you mean those things? Do we really have a thing? Or were you just kind of like in the group? And you know what? Every one of them has said, oh no, I was just in the group. I don't have a problem with you.
It's a mob. Like, it's a mob mentality.
I'm like, what in the fuck then? And they were like, honestly, bro, I don't know you. I've been around you for 20. One of them was like, I've been around you for 20 years. I don't know you well enough to know whether you did or didn't do anything. But at the same time, I was interested to hear your side of things and you didn't come to say that. So, and I was like, yeah, but I said it on my own and I shouldn't have to say it any other way. I tell you this, Luke, the one thing that I can tell you the best way I said it is this. When a 5-year-old, I posted on Facebook, when a 5-year-old asks a 30-year-old a question, he should ask it in a way deserving of an answer. In which case, I think if you come correct and proper to each other, like I came to you and said, would you like to do my show? And you were like, yes, I would like to do your show. Yeah. You know, now on the one we talked about pre-show and she was like, yeah, I'd love to do your show. And then 15 minutes in, she was like, no, I don't want to do it. That shit does not make sense to me. And that is just weird, but whatever, man.
And look, as I said,
there's more people out there, you know,
as I said, what you did was retaliatory and justified. And I have no problem with that. And that's why I'm still on your show. Well, I watch your stuff. I've talked to you privately about these things. And I think it's fine.
Honestly, I think we should all just produce great content and that's it in our own little spaces. And
I don't mind the retaliatory stuff to other people's bad behavior is acceptable. And I accept it. It's just the pile on and the additional haters because they just want to hate.
Yeah, I think it kind of, I think honestly it was a good weekend for a great big giant reptile show to happen in Pomona, California. I think it took a lot of people's minds off of a lot of things. It put a lot of people in the same room together that wouldn't normally be in the room so close together so soon after such events. And I hope that it honestly just let everything pan out. and that we can get on with a good year. So thanks again for doing my show, Luke, because, I got you, and then I got this show. Then this weekend, we got Friday night show with Anthony and Jake. Then next Tuesday, off topic, I come on with Matt Jablonski from South Florida. And Matt and I go back 20 years. Jablonski raises, dude, everything from monkey tree frogs to tortoises. He does everything. Black-headed pythons, all of it. Like, successfully raises so many species of reptile. It's ridiculous. And then the following Tuesday after that, I have Jason Hood, who's another giant hitter with a bunch of killer species that aren't having anything to do with a ball python. So, thank you all.
I watch them. I'll be there. I'll be in the comments. I try and watch. Most of the time, I watch your shows live. Sometimes
you are always in my chats, it seems, live. And thank you so much for being there.
Sometimes they don't fit in time-wise, and I watch them on the replay, which is fine.
Yeah, it's all good.
I'm going to watch this evening for me. So 11 o'clock tonight, my time, is What's in Your Cup, with Brian.
Yeah, with Brian.
So
you got 11. Brian and Shane.
Yeah, so that's
I'm not waking up at 6 in the fucking morning for that. So
that's 11 p.m. for me. So
right.
that actually, for me personally, that's a great time to watch.
Well, when I saw you in there when I was on it a few weeks ago, I was like, what the fuck? How many of my people are here too?
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
The time works great for me for that show.
No, that's funny.
I'll definitely be checking that out. And I hope that show tonight can maybe be a bit of a wrap up to what's been going on and maybe put a final little bow on it, and we can all move on, because it'd be nice for that hostility to end.
I think everybody's already started to move on. It seems like like old news already,
a little bit. Yeah.
Which is good. I mean, it's good. That's good. That shit shouldn't be big. It shouldn't be a big deal. Like, it shouldn't be a big deal. I hope that we can all make a bunch of great shows this year. I hope we can bring you guys all a bunch of great content this year. I hope you hit the like and the subscribe button on your way out.
It was good to have. It was good to even have Chris Snakes the Fat Man in the comments tonight, because I know, you and him had a little bit of a
we had a little bit of a tiff,
fallout.
But I would say it was a falling out, but we're rapidly on the on ramp back to a good friendship. So it's not a problem.
It's important.
Not a problem.
Important for me, because I was introduced to you by him, and
for sure.
I've really been enjoying your comeback. I don't know it's a comeback. I never watched or heard the old bullshit. I've only been a new bullshit person. But I want you to get back on the same page, because I love both shows.
Right. Yeah, and thank you. I mean, you ultimately, we're here for the guests. We're here for the guests. We're here for the listeners. We're not necessarily here for us. Those of us that are here for us, I feel sorry for you and your career and your futures in this. I think that if you're only doing this for you and it's not about the greater good, I honestly talked to a customer on the phone earlier, Luke, who just got a corn snake from me delivered this morning. We shipped yesterday. I'm sorry. Yeah. This morning that we shipped yesterday. And they previously bought a snake at a reptile expo, and their little corn snake they bought had mites when they bought it. And so ultimately, being that small and being that thin of a snake, by the time these novices noticed that it had mites, it was long gone. It was far gone as far as, absolutely unsavable, right? And the animal died. And they wrote me this long message like, we don't really know what to do, because we don't know who to buy from. We don't know. And I told them, I gave them my list of links of reviews and all of this stuff. And honestly, Luke, I love the only thing I truly love about the corn snake morph market is being that close to the bottom of reptiles in the way of novice reptile people. A lot of your advanced reptile people are not buying corn snakes. They're buying Bell's fucking lace monitors and Bell's hingeback, Bell's lace monitors and shingleback skinks and blue tongue morphs and stuff. A lot of your advanced hobbyists are not buying corn snakes, but a lot of your grassroots bottom, starters, first time snake owners, first time children snake owners and things are buying the corn snake stuff. And I got to tell you, man, it feels so good to meet people at that level and to help them at that level. So thank you for being all that you are and doing all that you do for educating the general public, bro. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Right. And everyone go follow me on Instagram.
Yes, indeed. Go follow him on Instagram. Get those numbers up so that this Australian can start monetizing here shortly. All right. All right,
Yes,
brother.
thank
Well, look,
you.
I'm going to dial you out here. Hang tight for me just a minute, and we'll wrap it up behind the scenes. And let me get going for the rest of these folks. All right.
Sweet. Thank you.
All righty. Thanks a lot. Well, there you have it. 2 hours and 40 minutes. Way too long with this guy. He's sweating his balls off in his lizard room while he's trying to finish out his workday down under. Thank you guys so much for coming by. I appreciate you so much for supporting the show, for being a part of the show. I do truly truly hope you'll hit the like and the subscribe button and help me out. The numbers are getting a little bit better on the podcast. We've definitely picked up a few people since the last time around with those shows with Kevin McCurley and everything on that crazy night. I appreciate all of you for tuning in with us that night. We're a little over 800 subscribers. We still need to get to 1,000. So do the damn job and hit the fucking subscribe button. Thank you so much. So PCF Funny Royals, the rest of you guys, Eric's Morse Factory, the guys of you that came in late to the show, I truly appreciate you. Jason Earl, thanks a lot. You guys have a good night. I'll see you on Friday with Jake and Anthony Caponetto. I know I'll at least have Jake on board for the show. Whether or not I have them both, I'm not sure. But if you jump on over to the Ballshit Podcast YouTube channel and click on the live tab, you can find this episode. You can click to have the notification bell notify you always of the content. Hit that notify me button and have it always notify you. Notifications on. See, look, I even hit my notification button. Hit the like. I'll even like it now just to lead by example. Hit the like on that one, and we'll see you Friday night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, here on the Ballshit Facebook. Your Ballshit YouTube channel. All right, guys. Thank you very much again. I appreciate you all, and